Biden on behalf of Fauci's work at the federal level within the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases.
First of all, you don't need a pardon if you haven't done anything wrong. And the pardon given by President Biden doesn't impact state law claims or actions that may exist. And we've seen potential allegations of perjury, misinformation provided to Congress and to the American people. And the question is whether or not there are people in my state as well as around the country that have been harmed as a result of the actions of Dr. Fauci.
Would that be a civil suit then? Is that the way that maybe you go after Fauci?
Yeah, I think state attorneys general across the country have consumer protection laws where we're responsible for protecting the interests of our people. And when you look at some of the concerns that have now arisen as a result of the vaccine, the harm that's been done medically to people across the country from misinformation that's been provided, I think that's very much an interest for us.
Okay.
I'll be back with more Alabama stories after this.
Covenant Rescue Group seeks to directly support organizations and agencies that are fighting the global battle against human trafficking. They do this through funding, procuring, and advocating. You can go to covenantrescue.org for further details. They need your donations, guys. Hop on and donate.
I'm Andrea Tice. A drowning occurred in Guntersville this past Saturday. The victim has been identified as 67-year-old Roosevelt Jones of Birmingham. The man was on the lake fishing with a friend when he fell into the waters. His friend called 911. The case is now under investigation. I'm Andrea Tice.
For more news affecting Alabamians, go to 1819news.com. And while you're there, subscribe to the daily newsletter.
Hi, this is Bo Goodson with the Goodson Group with your Real Estate Minute. My last message was the report for 2024 real estate market in the River region. According to industry experts, they predict for 2025, we will have more inventory to choose from for our buyers, more buyers for sellers to show their houses to. Here are 5 tips for buyers or sellers in 2025. Number 1, sellers need to price their home at fair market value with the help of your realtor. Number 2, buyers need to be pre-qualified by a local lender prior to shopping for a house to save them time. Number 3, use a certified residential specialist or CRS to purchase or sell your home. Less than 2% of realtors nationwide have this designation. You need an expert now. 4, use someone with 48 years of real estate experience to help you with your largest investment. Number 5, quit waiting. Now's the time to buy or sell. Call Bo Goodson at 221-2883, the Goodson Group, or 551-0225.
Hello, everyone. Robbie Pelt with Capital City Roofing. If you think about it, your home is your biggest investment in life. Your roof covers your home, so why jeopardize your biggest investment on a roofer you don't know anything about when you can deal with a reputable roofing company like Capital City Roofing? We have an A+ Better business rating and the best manufacturers and workmanship warranties available. We do all residential and commercial roofing applications that are certified through the manufacturer to ensure you get the best material and workmanship money can buy. We also have your project in our best interest before and after construction has been done. Don't hesitate to call us if you have any roofing issues or questions. We will match any of our competitors' price and give you the same great workmanship warranty. We also give free estimates. Give us a call today and let us show you the difference. 277-3311. That's 277-3311. Or you can check us out on the web at www.capitalcityroofing.com. Capital City Roofing. We capitalize the roofing industry.
The views and opinions of the following program are solely those of the host and other contributors. These do not necessarily represent those of Liberty Acquisitions 825, Blue Water Broadcasting, its management, staff, or any advertisers. It's time for Montgomery's Conversational Radio Show. It's news and views on News Talk 93.1 FM. To join the conversation, call 272-9228.
After damning politicians uphill and down dale for many years as rogues, vagabonds, frauds, and scoundrels, I sometimes suspected, like everyone else, I often expect too much of them.
That's how you conduct yourself in a democracy.
Ooh, welcome into the program. Here on is it already Monday? I had a great weekend, so I'm just losing track of days. Went up to Auburn for my uncle's birthday. Place called like Waverly Local. Ate, I think, 3,000 calories at their brunch buffet.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm doing all right.
Put some groceries away, did you?
Oh, yeah. course, Eddie Bader here in the studio. How you doing today, Eddie?
Wonderful.
Did you eat anything this weekend?
Yeah, it wasn't the 3,000 calories such as yours, but I did eat well.
Okay, well, that's good to hear. By the way, not only is Kash Patel head of the FBI, he's now been named head of the ATF. Right. Dan Bongino named the deputy director of the FBI.
Yeah.
Pete Hegseth and Trump have fired the head of the Joint Chiefs, and they're probably going to get rid of all of them, as well as many top military lawyers. Zelensky resisting signing the mineral deal. And a new Harvard, I think, Marist poll is out, and 72% of voters support DOGE. Oh. But in particular, caught my eye is this whole, I can't say the headlines on air in the way I want to, but Hooters is going belly up.
I can't believe that. What has happened?
And joining us also on the program, Joe Reed returning. Hey, Joe, how you doing?
Hey, Joe, how are you?
I'm all right. Pull that mic more in front of you there.
I'm sorry.
All good. Oh, man, it's just so much going on.
I can't believe in the world we live in today that Hooters gone out of business. What happened?
Now, that's worth an investigation.
Exactly. What happened?
That is worth it. How does that...
Exactly, Joe. How does that happen?
I'm trying to think it through. Do you remember this restaurant called the Tilted Kilt?
Yes.
I'm surprised. Not many people know that.
Yep.
It was the knockoff Hooters.
Right.
Okay. It was. All right. Now it went out a long time ago.
But they weren't Hooters.
But they weren't Hooters, right?
And then there was a place in East Chase for a little while that was like a knockoff Hooter.
Twin Peaks.
Yeah.
Again,
they're still around, but not here.
Yeah, but not here.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
So my theory is that the attractions of Hooters, like back in the day, wasn't as easy. But now it's ubiquitous. Like you can get wings sent to the door and just look on Instagram, and you're essentially have the same experience.
Your DoorDash driver doesn't look like that Hooters waitress. There's a little bit of a difference there.
I agree with that.
It's for their own safety.
Yeah, that doesn't happen too much. I think ever since COVID.
I think they just couldn't bounce back.
I think a lot of people couldn't. I mean, the margins on that stuff is really small.
Yep.
My brother was, doing food.
Very
So
well,
it's real small. And I mean, the slightest thing can put you behind the 8-ball, and you just never recover. And with people got used to just doing DoorDash, they got used to takeout, they got used to all those things. I think they never came back. But I'd be really, really interested to find out why.
What happened at Hooters?
What really, like, how did, because they were franchising and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
So I'm trying to figure out why. What is it now? I'll be frank. I didn't really care. I'm a wing connoisseur. I understand.
Oh, their wings were awful.
The wings, right? The wings, but of course, some people say you don't go for the wings.
Right. I like the breaded wings. They're good.
I did not like the breaded wings. The sauce was bad.
It's got to be immediate though. You can't get those shipped. You got to eat them right there in the place.
Yeah, but the sauce wasn't good, and sauce makes everything.
Right.
And
you're right.
It just, I don't know. I'm just stunned now.
Well, one in Auburn when I freshman year, there was a Hooters like right near where I was living, and we'd go there, and like the waitresses were extra friendly, and we're like, that's odd. All of a sudden, we must have gotten better looking or make more money, but and then we find out the place is shut down because the guy was running a prostitution ring.
Oh, gee!
So
holy crap!
That's why that one went under.
Oh, wow!
Oh, I wonder how many stores, like you said, it's a franchise. So I wonder how many have just the franchise owner thinking one thing is happening in stores, but other stuff's happening.
Other stuff, that's. Those rumors were always out there, and I guess they weren't rumors.
I guess not.
But
had the right location.
But even the one here, I mean, I like the one here when it was over at the old Daryl's.
Yeah.
It was. I mean, I thought it was okay. But it gave Montgomery something. I want to say this, something you get in other cities makes you feel like you're in a real town.
Made you feel like you're in a clique.
Yeah, and now, and of course when it left, nothing replaced. I think there's some other little place, some wing
nothing seems to last.
Yeah, that building is cursed. Like it goes back.
It's got that's location. You don't get a better location than right there.
They're right on the corner of Eastern and Vaughn.
Yeah.
The only other thing that could be different maybe is East Chase. But it's hard to get in East Chase.
Pain in the butt getting in and out of East Chase.
Whether it's exit 10 or whether it's exit 11, it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter
just a pain in the butt. And I don't know, but they those businesses, I guess, are still doing well. But yeah, I miss that. I miss that.
Yeah, just times are changing. That seemed like a sign of the times to me that Hooters going belly up. But the headlines were something else. And it's just sometimes sometimes what was the one headline? Headless body found in topless bar.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the old classic. Like sometimes you just get headlines that are too good. And I don't even know where to begin, Joe, because there's so much happening all at once. Maybe that's by design. But one of the topics over the weekend everybody's going back and forth about is this email sent out by Elon Musk. Trump puts out he wanted Elon and DOGE to be more aggressive. And then Elon sends out this email saying, I want 5 like bullet points of what you accomplished in the last week. Yeah. And failure to respond will be treated as your letter of resignation. What do you make of this?
Be careful what you wish for. Be careful what you wish for. And in my opinion, the inmates now have control of the asylum. They just do at this point. The leash is off that dog. And I don't think the owner is capable of putting it back on him. Oh man, remember that? There used to be this dog in my neighborhood that used to actually bit my brother, but used to bark at the crevice. You know, he was behind a gate for a while, and the owner was an older guy, and you know he walked. But that dog was that dog was serious business. And one day that dog got loose, and that dog terrorized the neighborhood, and the owner just could not get that dog back on the leash, and the dog did a whole lot of damage, from biting folks to, you know, leaving this calling card in your yard. And I think that's what you got here. I think you're right. You can't, this stuff is happening so fast. I don't think even the president knows what he's got his hands on. I don't believe he knows.
Yeah, but the email is sent right after he's like, y'all need to get more aggressive.
Yeah, but.
And also my understanding is, especially the one interview they did is like, and I think this is just true, there have been many presidents who had written executive orders over the last several decades, and the bureaucracy just ignores it because they don't know how to implement it. Or there would be folks that would come in and say, whether it was Reagan or even during the Clinton era, we want to look into this, that, and the other in this particular agency I'm now a cabinet head of, and they would just be ignored. And instead, this time now, whether it's an executive order or direct orders from the president or just looking into things, you now have a technical team that knows how to get the answers and get compliance.
I think you kind of got to figure out, which I'm still trying to figure out, what is this department? The last time I checked, the Congress had to do this stuff. Okay. And so I'm not, and the courts aren't even sure right now. So I'm trying to take my lead from what the filings are, because I prefer that as opposed to what I call just internet chirping. You don't know what you've got there. I had to clear up I had to clear with a guy today who said that someone had been in prison for 3 years and hadn't had a trial. I'm like, nobody does that here.
Yeah.
And so he responded to me saying, well, the FBI is not, if you think they're going to respect someone's speedy trial rights, you're wrong. I'm like, they don't have to. It's the courts that enforce that. So you're educating, but these are the things that get out there. But I don't know what DOGE does. I mean, I get the concept of it, but I don't know the legality of its creation. I think this is a lot of testing by the president because there's so many executive orders as to how far his power actually is. Somebody says it's a good thing. Somebody says it's a bad thing. I think you got to wait and see what that is. I don't mind anybody getting to the bottom of stuff. And I think if people are disobeying cabinet heads, it's probably because they don't respect them. And then there's no follow up by the cabinet head themselves or the president for that matter to do that. But have these folks been vetted? I was reading an article, one of the folks on Musk's team who's got some access to some things had found himself in a difficult spot because he had let some confidential information out, and I've got it written down. I'll go back to him during a break or something and get the full skinny on it. But basically it was some insider trading stuff he had given away that he shouldn't have done. If I'm a foreign adversary, and this includes, when I say a foreign government, which includes our allies, by the way, because our allies spy on us too.
100%.
It's not just our enemies, it's our allies too.
100%.
Yeah, I want to know who this dude is, because I can get something out of him. And so when you got, and I don't mind the fact they're 19 or 20, that really doesn't bother me necessarily either, because that doesn't mean you can't do the job because you're young, and as someone who's pushing past, who's getting the AARP stuff in the mail
you and me, brother.
on a daily basis, I'm out of that demographic now, I understand that. But, I think you got somebody who's never been in government. And Musk has never been in government. And government is not a business. I keep saying that. It's not a business. And you set them loose, you're going to get this stuff. And people want change until that change starts to hit them directly. Then it's too much, But those fleas come with a dog.
Yep.
They do. And I think when we take it, what's the old saying? Measure twice, cut once.
Yep.
There's a reason to be prudent about this. Look, there's no one who doesn't want to find, quote, government waste.
But when you hear examples of what they're finding, that doesn't encourage you to tell them to keep looking, look at more, look at harder?
I want to say this. I think when some things aren't as clear, and some of the stuff it's not what it's being made out to be either. The press secretary jumped on and said, that she thought that we were sending condoms to the Gaza Strip, and she made it out to be that way. I'm going to tell you what she did. She did do that.
Yeah, it said Gaza.
Yeah. No, it was a place in Africa.
Gaza, Mozambique.
Mozambique, right. Condoms are a cheap way. We can say that on the radio, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, condoms are a cheap way to prevent / reduce / stem the flow of sexually transmitted diseases. And part of U.S. aid, is to do these sorts of things. I mean, we got people in so many different areas doing very, very, very good things. Yeah. Now, I'm not telling you that somewhere we don't have some errors. That's not what I'm saying. But I trust the people who've been in there longer, who've been looking at it to say, tell me what you found and report back to me. That makes sense. As opposed to coming in and taking a wrecking ball. For instance, if I were to come in here on y'all's show and I just say, something, I'm going to look at the station, see, there's some waste here. And I just start, I don't think you need that. Eddie, I don't think you need that phone. I don't think you need that. That's wasteful. Why can't you just hold it up with your hand? Why do you need to stand?
But me being in the world that I came from, that's business. Whenever we'd have a new owner, new manager come in, I mean, they wouldn't necessarily take the wrecking ball, but you definitely had to kind of justify what you did there. There were many programs that were struck from day one. They did come back because we had to go and justify what we were doing. But just me personally, when I see the kind of waste that's going out, and me, a guy that makes a pretty decent living but still finds himself struggling, I see that kind of money, and that really upsets me.
I think again, I don't think no one's going to quarrel with that. I think if you want to dig into waste in the government truly, if you really want to do that, start in Medicaid and Medicaid. I
think we're going that route.
And the Defense Department.
Yeah,
I think that's
that's coming up next.
Yeah.
I said,
but now that's going to be a different cookie to crack. The DOD, that.
That's going to be totally. I said, start there.
Yeah.
I said, you want to get at it, you start there. But that's a sacred cow, and I don't know what we're not going to find or the trouble that we'll.
We're going to find a lot. You know what I do. If they're honest, we'll find a ton of DOD.
There's certain things I agree with you on, in particular with the courts. Like on Friday, there's a federal judge that says you can fire all the USAID folks. And then today, there's a judge that says you can't look into education department, especially the stuff that gets into financial records about student loans and whatnot. And it's sort of kicked around all these lower level judges. And I'm just sort of waiting. A lot of these issues will end up in front of the Supreme Court. My understanding of what DOGE is remember when Obamacare is being stood up around 2014, and the website initially is a disaster. So they bring in a lot of Silicon Valley folks to stand up not only that website, they create, which has congressional appropriation, the U.S. Digital Services agency under the president, U.S. Digital Services. And it was supposed to, because it was meant to look into all the technical services of the government, it had root access to a lot of the databases of pretty much every agency in government. They have essentially changed that from the U.S. Digital Services to the U.S. DOGE Services, and it's under the Office of Management and Budget. And this is where it's like they've thought this through on the legal side. I've been following, in particular, I loved Vivek Ramaswamy, and Vivek had more of the arguments where he would go through his little speeches and cite Supreme Court precedent, cite chapter and verse of U.S. Code. The president has the power to fire this many people. The president has the power to do this, that, or the other. When Vivek is kind of pushed out of DOGE, run for governor of Ohio, they're saying, well, I believe he said himself, they decided to go with the more technical approach that Elon wants. And I think that was a bit of a head fake. I think it is a lot of folks that had the legal X's and O's ready to go. And then the digital, technical side of this, being able to actually go around the gatekeepers and access it through a department that's already got congressional appropriations. I think is why the courts and even the lawyers defending the government's actions are a little behind and not clear. I was reading some of that in the Wall Street Journal today. So I like the speed over the top approach. For instance, people go, how did Elon and SpaceX bring down the cost of rockets going in and out of orbit and sending a lot of stuff up there? Well, it's because NASA had that measure twice, cut once mentality. Like, we can't make a mistake at all. Whereas Elon's like, yeah, we're probably going to blow up some rockets in order for the sake of speed. And then through the long process, we'll fix certain problems we have. And so it's this iterative, like, yeah, we might break a few things, but we're going to put it back in place. I think the reason they started with USAID is they do this sort of bureaucracy-wide executive order to comply with this. And DOGE, each agency has 2 DOGE members that have the technical know-how, and then a government federal employee, a lawyer, and then somebody who's worked in the department for a while. And so they put out this government-wide memorandum to comply with the president's directives. And then they essentially, like when you're thrown in prison, you go to the biggest, baddest guy on the block and you punch him right in the face. USAID was the most insubordinate. They're the most like, no, money kept going out when they said, stop, pause. So they go, okay, what's going on there? Let's go punch USAID in the nose. I think the Pentagon's coming, especially with the president saying things like, if we get peace with Russia, we get peace in the Middle East, I want to have a trilateral agreement with Russia and China to denuclearize and to cut military spending by 50% over the next few years. I think Hegseth is all about not only firing top generals, but like, we don't need as many generals. We don't need so I think it is truly across the board. And then some of this, you'll notice, like when they offer 8 months severance to federal workers, like these buyouts, the reason they couldn't do more than 8 months is because Congress needs to actually appropriate funds. And so Congress is going to play its role in this, but I think a lot of what the executive branch is doing under President Trump and under DOGE is doing what they think they can legally, and then on a few fronts, picking a fight to get new rulings at the Supreme Court level, in particular the question of impoundment. That's, I think, going to be the big test coming forward. And if you look at the history, the presidency is almost at its weakest with Nixon. They stopped that, which had been a practice of many presidents before. And the idea is you can carry over money, like 20%, they talked about that DOGE dividend, 20% goes to taxpayers, 20% directly paid on debt. Folks are like, what about the other 60%? It stays in the department. And that actually will affect, you'll be incentivized to save money in your department instead of spend it on the way out the door so your budget doesn't get cut next year. So I think it is like full speed ahead. Let's go as fast as we can. We know we're going to break a few things. If we break critical things, we'll fix them. But we really want to change this government. And I'll finish with this. I think what's happening is the structure set up under FDR has not been run like it was run under FDR since FDR. And you had presidents kind of went along with this whole bureaucracy. And what Trump and team, especially with that infusion from DOGE, have done is they said, oh, look at this old car that hadn't been run in a while. Well, let's see if it'll still run in the way the guy initially set it up, the New Dealer set it up, and which is a little bit of an irony of history. But I think that's my take on this. And I voted for this. This is something I was hoping for. My worry is they were going to go too slow and not do enough. And this is the technical approach to this is what truly astounds me. I think it's kind of, it's something not many people saw coming, and you can see from everybody's reaction.
Oh, they're going crazy. I mean, it's not just, necessarily folks who call liberals or conservatives. I mean, everybody's doing it.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's certainly shocking. I'm more cautious about those things where, again, it's like me bringing me in here, I probably could figure some things out. I was a finance major. I can run numbers. That I can do. But I don't know how this place works. The last thing you probably want to do is cut me loose in here with a wrecking ball and do what I think I ought to be doing, as opposed to saying, okay, Joey, Eddie, what do you guys see happening, and talking to the people who are there. I've always got questions about, if I've got inspectors, because we're getting a lot of inspectors who are getting terminated too. Well, these are the people who are watching for the fraud. And I don't mind people saying this overuse of fraud and what I call I call them fear tactics. Okay. If there was as much fraud as people said there was going on, generally you'd have far many more criminal charges, far many more cases in the courts, and a lot of things would not function. It's just, I mean, it would just be out of control. So I don't think we have as much as we do. Now, that being said, I think the people who are there, who are the paid inspectors, like for USAID, I think like 40% of those folks are like lawyers and accountants who are there to make sure there isn't this stuff going on. What do those people say about what's happening? I'd want, as opposed to someone who's never been on the inside of this, coming straight. I don't care what kind of business you run. That doesn't mean much to me. To come in and tell you exactly, we're going to do X, Y, and Z. Cut this, you're out of, you're fired. Well, who the hell's going to do the job? If everybody with experience is gone, I've got to, now the training and the money I've spent on these people, now that's gone. So I've got to start with some new people to get their feet on the ground. And how much time do they actually have to make a difference? I mean, yeah, you can tell folks to stop doing this, and he's done that. But once the Congress has appropriated funds and said, this is what this has been signed into law by, whether it's Biden, whether it's Trump, whether it's Bush, whoever it is, the job of the presidency now is to go ahead and see that happens. You don't get to say, well, I'm not doing it. And so, we have a government and we have rules. And the first thing you do is you got to comply with the rules. If you can do what you want to do within those rules, then that's what that is. I've got no issue with that. Then it becomes a judgment call. And later on, you figure out if it should have or should not have been done. You can have that debate. Right. But as long as you've got those rules in place, what I don't like particularly from the Congress, is the Congress, in my opinion, is abdicating its role as a check on the executive. It's not doing it. It is a guy that's sitting on his hands, and that's why they're getting their butts kicked. That's why they aren't showing up for town hall meetings answering questions, because what they've done is they've decided that their political popularity is far better than doing what they probably ought to be doing. You cannot confuse party loyalty with integrity, okay, and honesty. Can't do that. I'm not wedded to any particular politician. Politicians come and they go. That's just what they do. When Bob Menendez got indicted, I wasn't out beating the drum that he shouldn't have been.
Right.
Okay.
There's certain ones that are so wretched.
You know here's what I'm saying. Now, he beat the first rap.
Sure.
He beat the rap the first time. Okay. And it's just now, as they say, this is your second trip to this rodeo. Okay. Now, Joey, if everybody's not lying about you. Okay. Now, if everybody calls you a jackass, I'm going to put a saddle on you. I'm just going to tell you. Okay. That's what I'm going to do. So when he's down for a second thing, that's on him. Juries get these things right far more than they get them wrong. I always tell friends who question the system, did you get dragged out of bed last night and charged with either armed robbery or murder or rape? Did that happen last night? Okay. That's how you know it's not out of control, because then things would be out of control. So as long as we've got these rules in place, then fine. We'll see what goes on. But I think prudence demands that the people who are already there at least report you. That's the first thing I would have done. What do you guys see, as opposed to sending out an email saying justify why you've been here for the last, hell, does even Elon Musk know what you should have been doing to even see whatever's going to be on that email, if that's even right or wrong?
I don't think Elon Musk himself is going to get the emails and read all of them, but I do believe there's supervisors in place. And I think it was just an easy, do you want your job or not?
It's a compliance method, and it's also, I think, a probing sort of information search. I mean, even Elon, as a joke, said you could have gone to Grok and say made up 5 things, that probably would have done it. So I think it's sort of just a signaling mechanism, and where they see the resistance, they start looking more, or they now have an excuse to go after folks. And I see your point about you're not arrested wrongfully in the middle. It's not a Kafka novel, and all of a sudden they don't tell you why you're arrested and you go through this thing. But when it comes to big constitutional questions over, say, the powers of each branch, or the powers of the federal government itself, you look at from the beginning. Alexander Hamilton's writing in the Federalist Papers, only those powers expressly given to the federal government. He becomes Treasury Secretary and goes, we need a national bank. And he starts arguing the complete opposite. And so, there's going to be, I think, and I guess the British have that system where there is no written constitution. The constitution is this developing thing that Parliament decides over time. Whereas, and I think that's kind of what we have here, though I love the written constitution we appeal to. I think built into that written constitution is the branches will fight. And this struggle over who has certain powers to do things, it's then tested. And it does depend on the makeup of the Supreme Court, the makeup of the Congress, the makeup of the White House and who controls it. So there is political input from the people. But I think that's what we're seeing now is a president that actually is like, I was elected to be president to run this executive branch. I'm not going to let just the bureaucracy do whatever they want or sort of box me in with different options that they want to do. I think I'm actually was elected to run this thing, and I'm going to get to the bottom of it.
I think we're short of being a king. We're way short of that. And yes, president doesn't make you that. Whether whatever's in front of your name.
I don't want a king.
Yeah, nothing says none of us do.
No.
And my dad always told me, he says, be careful that you don't set a precedent that you don't want anybody else to follow. Okay, so I am very, like I said, I'm conservative because I know what bad people can do,
Sure.
with power.
Sure.
And sometimes your worst fears, you can't ever say what won't happen tomorrow. Your worst fears can come true. And, there have been plenty of movies that I look at and I'm like, yeah, we aren't far off of that sort of a thing right now. So, I mean, the courts are going to, I think what's happening right now, what I don't like, and I didn't like it from the president, this thing we call democracy is extremely fragile. We're here and we're civil because we submit to law. That's why we are.
Right.
When you start what I call, and I mean unfairly, denigrating and sowing distrust amongst our courts, that's how dictators move. That's how they move. You first tell people there's no confidence in their elections. Start with that stuff. I don't like that. I mean, it's things that Joe just doesn't like. Then you go after the courts. You can't get any, they're not fair. They're mean. They're this. They're incompetent. They're that. Then you move towards the military, and you start putting what I call your people in place. And on the surface, it's benign. I expect the president to put people in the cabinet who put the people in. But geez, I want these folks to actually have some experience in what they're doing. When Bush 43 brought Donald Rumsfeld back as Secretary of Defense, whether you thought Rumsfeld, and I'm not getting to everything Rumsfeld did, whether I would have done it, I'm a different person. I'm not going to argue that point, but you'd be hard pressed to say that Rumsfeld was not experienced and didn't have the qualification, didn't have that worldview. You could say a lot of things, but you could not say that. When you had Colin Powell as chair of the Joint Chiefs, you could make up a bunch of stuff if you wanted to, and they were talking about some of the things that happened in Bush 41's cabinet, particularly going in Iraq, is if you break it, you're going to buy it. And while Cheney, I think there was a conversation where he was chirping a little bit too much, and Colin Powell told the president and told Cheney that nobody in the room had been in a war and fought in a war but him. And they all basically ought to shut up and listen. You need guys like that. What concerns me, time tells it, I don't think you're getting those people here. I think what we're getting certainly loyalists, which you need that, but are we getting true competence? Because I think you can do both. I think that can happen. And some of these things are not left or right or Democrat, Republican, or liberal, because the military is not. It's not that. I mean, it is the threats that we face on the world stage aren't that. I'm not a big Russia fan. Never have been. Okay, I don't like cozying up to people like that. I don't like the president who says that, Ukraine started a war that everybody knows it didn't, and then nobody says anything about it. And says and acts like that. That's
a lot of people died before that full invasion.
Well, yeah, I'm saying, but that invasion started with the Russians. I mean, the Ukrainians did not invade the Russians. That's not what happened. I mean, Joe, if I come over to your house,
there was a coup. And then there was a civil war in the eastern part of the country that raged for several years as the Europeans pretended they wanted peace with the Minsk Accords. Thousands of people die there in the Donbass region as that fighting goes on. Then Russia does the full invasion.
So Putin's claim of atrocities towards Russians who were living there. And that's why
I don't know about that sort of claim.
But he said that. We're all left scratching our heads like, what? I can remember that. He says that's why he did. And that's when he started playing the old Nazi propaganda about Hitler and all this other stuff. I'm going to save these people. I'm like, yeah, I'm not really buying that. But no, I don't believe a guy like that. And I think cozying up to a guy like that sends the wrong message to our allies. The world is too big. And if we start losing our allies, America can't fight everything on its own. We don't have the resources. We don't have the man or woman power to do that. Just can't do it.
Agreed.
We need to talk with our allies, and we need coalitions. But that's our success.
But do we need weak allies like we've got? I mean, right now, let's look at Europe. Even they're having to look at themselves and go, hey, we got called out by the U.S. for being soft. And now their politicians are coming around and it's splitting, where you've got a side that says, you know what, we have gotten too soft. We need to take our country, our culture back. And I look at the world. A lot of the world right now is, like it or not, are following Donald Trump's footsteps in the sense of they want their culture back.
Well, it's not so much because when I say culture, I'm going to put that on the side for a second and get back to what you were saying, Eddie, before about dealing with the Soviet Union or the Russians. I call it something because
Me too. I still call it Soviet Union too. Joey chides me for this.
Right. I'm just, the Russians. I mean, no, I don't trust that dude. Trust that dude as far as I could throw him. I think he's ruthless. He's a fraud, but he's in power.
Yeah.
And I don't think America cozying up to him is a good thing. I think we used to be a country that championed democracy for win. Now, and I said before what's going to happen. Now you're trying to broker a peace deal, if you want to call it that, with one of our major adversaries, and the person who's there or the country who's there is not even at that table.
Yeah, because they had 3 years to get to the table.
Well, I mean, who's going to follow a peace deal, and what kind of peace deal will it be? If you think if you're Ukrainian, if you're not there, if I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do to your house, Eddie, and you're not there to decide how you want it arranged, what furniture is going to be in it, what kind of food is going to be in it, are you likely to want to live there, and how much are you going to help me do it?
No, but if I've been paying your house payment for that long, and you don't have the cojones to show up to the table and negotiate for yourself, then we don't need you.
Well,
and to be honest, let's be honest about Zelensky. He's a comedian. He's there because we put him there. The people of Ukraine are going to vote them out first chance he gets. He even admitted that the other day. So what do? We're playing with another puppet.
When I say remains to be seen, okay, remains to be seen. Lots of things I thought that happened in America that I thought would not happen have happened, and we kind of let those things play their way out. But his last temperature check about the price tag, I guess, put on, the aid that we've given, which was 4 times getting it back in minerals, 4 times what we put into it. I'm like, people are unlikely to agree to that. But
we're the only ones that are not getting their money back.
Well,
and as an American, I'm tired of bailing the world out on my dime. I don't mind lending a hand, but the way we get treated after things are fixed is not okay with me anymore. So if nothing else, I'd like to get our money back.
Well, and I think getting our money back is one thing. 4 times that is something different.
It does guarantee a security problem fix for them. If we are doing business with them, chances are nobody's going to mess with them.
Well, it depends on what goes. Anytime the Russians leave the table smiling, that troubles me.
Oh, that's any deal, though, right?
Yeah. If the Russians are leaving and smiling, yeah, something's wrong with that. If Putin's leaving smiling, yeah, something's wrong. Something is not right about that. I mean, I'm just like as a bare bones on the surface guy. Yeah. When it comes to dealing with someone like him. But I think we can't turn. If we're still going to lead the democratic world, that's what we're going to do. Then that's what we've got to do.
I agree.
And that costs.
We lead by example.
It's like children. Children are the most expensive things you're ever going to get.
Oh, you telling me?
Well, here we got to hit a break. But good conversation, and yeah, there's so much more I could say, and we will say, but I have to hit this break.
To come back. We move on to something else, and we can revisit that. That's not going to be over anytime soon.
You're right about that.
But this part of the program brought to you by Pest Pro Services, and they're Pest Pro. Ashley and that great team are ready to help you out with any and all of your pest control needs. Termite season's right around the corner.
Termite season's right around the corner, and also there's so much new construction going on, Joey. It's important people to realize you need to get pest control done before you even start the job. You need to have the ground treated that the foundation is going to be on.
Right.
And Pest Pro Services has got the right chemicals and the right people to make that happen.
And before you know it, mosquito season will be right here.
It's coming up, Joey.
Yeah, as soon as it starts to warm up, they're going to be out there. And if you actually want to enjoy your backyard or front porch or just your property in general, have them come treat the yard.
That's exactly right.
Starts at like what, $50?
$50 a month. I think they come around. I actually got an email from them the other day that they will start in about a week or so at the Airbnb. So it's season.
Yeah, and if you're just looking for a great local pest control company, it's Pest Pro Services. And, you know, you're not only paying a company where the money's staying in the community in the area, but they also give back a lot. And they're still doing that highlight of Player of the Week.
Player of the Week.
And they're
That's
always
exactly
looking for
right.
nominations. You can just go to Pest Pro Services on Facebook and direct message them saying, hey, I saw this kid play and they deserve some spotlight here.
Excellent.
They will pick from those nominations. But if you want those pest control needs met, call them up today at 265-9990. That's 265-9990. Or you can always go to ppsrefrigen.com or, again, search Pest Pro Services on the Book of Faces. What do you want to know? Call a pro. Pest Pro Services. And be sure to tell Ashley and that great team there that Joe and Eddie, those fellas on the radio, sent you.
Want to carry News Talk in your pocket? Download the News Talk 93.1 app from the App Store. Available on iPhone and Android. Never miss a moment. Download now.
The Rich Thomas Weather Network, brought to you by Montgomery Paint and Body. From little fender benders to total body repair, MPB will fix it good as new, maybe better. For 4 decades, the Turner family has been getting you back on the road. Call 279-7325.
Well, hi, everybody. This week's weather is much better than last week by a long shot. Today starts off cloudy, but gradually becomes sunny with a high temperature up to about 66. Not bad. Partly cloudy tonight, overnight low 42. Tuesday looks like a beautiful day. High temperature in the lower 70s with sunshine tomorrow. Wednesday's high warmer at 76, mostly sunny. Next chance of showers holding off till about Thursday, and then nice weather returning Friday and Saturday. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at checkethos.com. That's checkethos.com.
Lowe's knows how to help you get the most out of your store run. That's why members save more with My Lowe's Rewards. Earn points towards My Lowe's money on eligible purchases. Get access to member-only deals and free member gifts. Plus, unlock free standard shipping when you reach Silver Key status. So what are you waiting for? Join for free today. Lowe's. We help. You save. Loyalty program subject to terms and conditions. Details at lowes.com/terms. Subject to change.
For too long, Alabama's statewide news companies have shamed us for our conservative Christian values. Alabama deserves a news company that cherishes our culture, a company that isn't bought and paid for by the powers that be. 1819 News is that company. Run by Alabamians for Alabamians, 1819 News celebrates what is good and beautiful about our state, while exposing those who work against our values in secret. Just go to 1819news.com to learn more. Subscribe to our newsletter. That's 1819news.com.
Hi there, I'm Kim Williams with Alabama Home Mortgage.
And I'm Madeline Cannon. It's true, rates aren't as low as they have been for the past couple of years, but there are still many homeowners that could benefit from refinancing their current mortgage. There are a lot of things in life that are out of our control, but your mortgage rate is not one of them. If you currently have an adjustable rate mortgage, then you owe it to yourself to give us a call.
Adjustable rate mortgages make sense for some people in stable markets, but in this wild, ever-changing rate environment, it only makes sense to secure a fixed interest rate. A fixed interest rate will give you the peace of mind that your rate is locked. Your rate will not be subject to change with the political and economic tides.
At Alabama Home Mortgage, you can personalize your term. We offer 8-year to 30-year mortgages and everything in between. Grab your mortgage statement and give us a call.
Call Alabama Home Mortgage, the #1 mortgage lender in Alabama, today at 567-4223, or visit us online at myalabamahomemortgage.com. That's Alabama Home Mortgage, because, folks, there is a difference in mortgage companies. NMLS 1586-36A, Equal Housing Lender.
No one wants to wait on service for an overhead door. With 20 years in the industry, you now have access to the best with All Access Overhead Door. All Access Overhead Doors offers prompt professional service at affordable prices on all service and new garage doors for residential and commercial locations. All Access Overhead Door serves the river region and can take care of whatever you need when it comes to your overhead door. Remember, you have access to the best. All Access Overhead Door. Call and schedule an appointment today. 320-2440. And like them on Facebook. They sell the best and service the rest.
When you need a new door or window replaced, you want it done right. Someone who delivers expert craftsmanship every time. Experience is a must. Listen, Davis Door and Sacks. They can show you new doors and windows that can help you lower your utility bills and boost energy efficiency. DavisDoorandSashAlabama.com or call 334-288-6010. Davis Door and Sash, the perfect fit for your home.
Hi, this is Carl Schmidt, naturopath and owner of the Herb Shop. Listen every Saturday to Winning Wellness and learn from experts in different fields of science and technology how nutritional supplements can help you.
Listen to Winning Wellness every Saturday at 10 a.m.
Live, local talk. The River Region's most trusted voice for news and opinion. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back to News and Views in the afternoon, or as we call this show online, Joey Clark Live. Yeah, and I had time to even make bumper music this weekend.
Some new stuff.
This is a good weekend, man. I mean, it's not all that thought out. It's more like put down a drum track, put down a bass track, add stuff around it, play with the synths and whatnot.
Are you a musician too?
Yeah, all the music we come in and out of, I make.
Really?
Yeah.
That's impressive.
Oh, he's very talented.
I have fun with it.
I didn't know that. I was going to mess with you, but now I can't even mess with you about that.
Like, I wish I was able to make proper songs, but I'm the writing for that. I've got all my writing's gone into prose. I don't know what the deal is there.
Between, I think, artists and, well, they're still artists, but between people who actually draw and people who can compose music, those have to be some of the smartest people in the world to do that. I don't know how you do that. I can't do it. I mean, I can only carry a tune if it's in a suitcase, but that's about it. But I don't know how that's done. As far as drawing is concerned, my pictures they're still stick people.
Yeah, no, I could never draw. For some reason, music's always resonated with me, and I never was classically trained. I don't really play around. We have a whole other hour, but there was a prediction by, of all folks, may rest in peace, Quincy Jones. Okay. And he was talking about Prince in particular. And he said, I'm worrying that in the future, you're going to get a bunch of folks that just stay in their room and just produce music, and they don't work with others. And he was right. And I'm not the only one. But what's cool is YouTube and all this new world is you can just be the guy done tour. You're not trying to make a bunch of money. You're just having fun. And it creates a new music community, just putting stuff out there. And it's by the way, pretty amazing how much you can create without having much talent now, too. The things that are accessible to especially young kids who really are talented, it's remarkable what they're probably going to do with these new tools coming up. Remarkable. So I don't even know where to pick up off of because there's so many things happening. I think maybe we'd do the broad point. I think this sort of flood the zone idea in terms of flood the zone of the media space, but also flood the zone of the courts. It seems like just do a bunch of stuff, do it really fast. To me, the foreign policy moves make a lot of sense. Is like you control your hemisphere first, then you push against the Europeans, and you essentially want to walk to the table with China having the most leverage possible. And I think reasserting here's our prerogatives in our own backyard with the Europeans and other places makes a lot of sense. But it does seem like everything that is a strategy of just doing everything all at once.
Yeah, you're right. Flood the zone. It is. You can't keep up with it. I mean, every day there's just when you're trying to get your handle on one thing, something else is going on. And I mean, yeah, you got enough judges, but I mean, he can issue an order every 10 minutes if he wants to, whether it's legal or not, good or bad. Even if people don't like it, people will challenge things they don't like, and you have that right in this country, and that comes with being up there on the hill, But lots of those things, like I said, I question its legality, and that's not to say it is or is not. Whether it's going to be good or bad in the future. Time tells you that sort of thing, but I think that is a strategy. I think is hit them with as much as you can. Everything won't get through, and some of this stuff actually will.
Yep.
Well, and then the personnel hires. I think it's fascinating having, for instance, Tulsi Gabbard, former co-chair of the DNC, right?
Yeah, she was in that. I didn't like her then. So
Fair enough. If you didn't like her then,
I didn't like her then. I mean,
well, what about Elon? Was he a strong Democrat at one time?
I don't think so. I think these guys. I think these guys who like him are on whatever side is popular and whatever side's winning at the moment. They don't have any. Their allegiances to themselves and their pocketbooks. You know, political coats are for politicians. They wear them depending on which way the winds are blowing, how warm or how cold it is, depending on whether they're putting it on or taking it off. And it's always been that way. I don't think there's anything new to it. People get too what I call entrenched into those things, like it's some sort of like their family. I've just never been one of those, to do that. You may have some sort of an ideology about some things, but never to the point where your integrity comes into play. You can't discern what is a fact and what is not. That truth becomes a casualty of politics. None of that stuff, because whatever somebody will do, it doesn't matter who you are, whether you voted for, whether you didn't. They don't know you. They don't care.
Right.
The bottom line is, they'll do whatever is in their best interest at all times, and that's political survival in and of itself. No one, which is why some of those, whatever side it is, if it's hot at the moment, nobody's going there. Democrats passed the Affordable Care Act, lost a handle on the was it perfect thing? Nothing's perfect. Lost a handle on the media message, and then abandoned it, took off. And you couldn't find one to defend it hardly in any place,
right?
Because they got their finger in the wind at that particular point in time, and you got a similar situation going on right now. And so where people draw too closely into that sort of a thing, and it becomes personal. Sometimes it's personal, with me, it is you're either right or you're wrong. I agree with it or I don't, but I'm not going to say that I agree with you that Easter comes on Wednesday because you said it.
Right.
Well,
and what I'm seeing though, with like whether it's Tulsi, who made a very key point talking about the surveillance state, in fact, was put on a no-fly list. And as soon as she started really challenging things, when she ran for president and whatnot, and what Hillary started calling her a stooge for Putin, Trump's like, well, you've been fighting these sorts of foreign policy people. What have you become the head of ODNI? When you look at Kash Patel, it's like you've been kind of fighting the FBI, and he was sort of the main investigator working under Devin Nunes with the whole Russia Gate thing. Well, why not just make you head of the FBI? The big announcement everybody woke up to this morning, Dan Bongino, named deputy director of the FBI. And he took like half the stations from Rush Limbaugh along with it.
He's going to take a heck of a
So he's quitting that. He announced that this morning.
Podcast and everything,
Well, you're chuckling at that one.
Because this is this is reality TV.
Mm-hmm.
This is what we're watching, a reality show. That's what we're watching here.
It's funny you say that, because I felt that under Biden, especially when we started putting what I knew females or males dressed as males into leadership position. I looked at this like, what in the hell are we doing? And when you mentioned judges earlier too, I'm all about following the law of fair judges. But when there's judges, and we've had two of them here recently come out and say they're more than two genders, I can't agree with you on that anymore.
This is because I'm a lawyer, so I got to be careful about what I say.
Oh yeah.
So let me be very careful about what I say.
Joe.
I don't know. I say I'd be careful. Y'all don't have law licenses.
We can just skip over this if you like.
We might. We'll come back to that.
Yeah, I didn't mean to put you in a spot.
Let me say this. I think people have whatever. I think you can be to be a bird or a fish. You can be fish or fowl, but you cannot be both. Now,
okay,
that's just my personal opinion. That being said, I think everybody has their God-given human rights, and making a change is a personal thing, not one I would get into, not one I would judge as to what's good or bad for you, other than you're a human being in this country. You have certain rights in the Constitution. You're entitled and you're afforded those rights. And that's across the board. And that's just across the board. I would think if you're transitioning, there may be for lack of a better word, a middle part of that. But I think you're going from one to another, however that works. So I don't know what happens. I guess you're one until you get to the other. I don't know. Candidly speaking, I don't know how to figure that out. I haven't, like I said, I'm just using what I call a knee-jerk common sense, what I think is common sense reaction to that. If you're a woman transition to a male, then I think whenever that happens, then that's when that is, and it's not. And then you get into, that, because Eddie, you brought this up, so now I got to pivot on this. Oh, you did it, so I got to pivot to it, which brings up this other issue. I know, and Joe, we'll get back to what you were saying in a second, but Eddie brought this up, so it's Eddie's fault. Don't blame me.
It's my fault.
So now we get into, okay, what bathroom should someone who's not quite transitioned go into? Now, this appeared in the question, somewhat rhetorical, only because I've seen this on TV, and some of the folks who are arguing one point, I think it was a woman transitioning to a man, but she had not finished her hormone therapy and all these other things, and she raised one good solid point, which was, do you want to see me in a woman's restroom? All right, and put a period behind that. I'm like, well, that was an eyebrow raised, man. Like, okay.
Right.
I may have a point on that one. But, and we're getting away probably what you said, but you just made me think about that. So I'm trying to get back to what you said, which was, I don't know who the judges were who said they were neither, or I don't know who they were, what, I don't know.
Neither one have been in this state. One was in Maine recently, and I believe the other one, it's another state that allows males to play female sports.
Yeah, I don't agree with that. That's common. That means common sense. But guys, look, do we actually need a law?
No, that's the part that kills me, Joe.
And a lot of
That's
this
what
is repealing, like the whole Title IX fight. The Biden administration started this. Title IX had been Title IX for a pretty long time.
But that is common sense.
Yeah.
Okay. That's common
absolutely.
sense. Now, look, people, you cannot put a man in a woman's sport. You can't do it. I don't believe it. Okay.
The physicality of it, just the physicality.
That's not so agree with you about it. I think, whatever your bone density is still different. Your muscles are still different.
The most jarring was to me last year when they had a male boxer fight a female. If you could watch
Was
that
he
and
legit?
say that,
I'm saying, was a legit male and a legit? I'm saying, were these pros or were they just folks in the street?
no, they were pros, and he
Yeah, I don't
beat
like
the
that.
tar out of her.
No kidding.
And that's the thing, for that to have gone on, and for us to sit there and watch it and never called it, and never said this is ridiculous.
And data came out, the UN of all places came out with reports saying that biological men that had transitioned to be women had taken something like 780 medals, championships, opportunities away from women. And so that's a lot.
Do what you want to do, but that goes too far.
Yes, I agree.
That's just joke.
Well, and to your point about the reality TV thing, I think Trump is purposely picking people that are good on TV.
I think so too.
But he's also picking people that have more backgrounds than just looking good on television and speaking well on television.
Kash Patel's confirmation was as close as I think as you can get, except for the 50-50 tie in the vice president break is the closest you can get.
With Hegseth, yeah.
Hegseth, yeah. That, it's interesting to me, and I'm watching Mitch McConnell. Okay, interesting to me. Mitch's last moves. Okay. I think he's a guy who, when I say what does he know now that he did not know before? Some would call this new religion. Politically, you probably say he's got religion now. Do I think that Hegseth was, the president's entitled to his cabinet? Let me just say that.
Yeah.
I think the president ought to get who the president, who's going to work with him and do things. You sort of can't have the enemies in there. I mean, do I think there could have been some of the more experience, someone, in my opinion, with some better character, who didn't have his issues, who could have done that job? Yeah, I believe that, and I still think they would have had they would have supported the president. Now, why it's that dude, I haven't nailed that down yet. Okay, but no, I didn't think so. I don't think it's good to have what I call the people who, I'm very, very careful what I say because it's a fine line. These, like Patel, this is a guy who appears to me at least to want to blow this thing up. Okay. And I don't think the FBI needs to be blown up. I don't think, I think everything in this country is not bad, y'all. It's not bad.
Agreed.
It's not this, and see, TV, don't think the dangerous part about someone like the president is that he's good at what he does. He's good. And you can convince people to buy into a lot of things they should not buy into. But he's good. I mean, I've said this sometime before. If I didn't say it here, I said it someplace else. He could easily be the greatest, if not the most foremost politician in the last 2 centuries. Okay? Certainly modern era. I thought it was probably, I gave Reagan and Clinton, I put them at the top 2, and Wallace very close, third. But I haven't seen anything like this. And I think he's moved ahead of them. That being said, I don't want to tear our norms down, and we're doing that. That worries me. I'll just tell you, it makes me nervous. Nothing may not happen. I'm afraid of what does happen. I'm really afraid of it. I'm afraid of what happens when the pendulum swings the other way.
Yep.
And
I see your point.
And what I don't like like I said, the demonizing of everything somebody does. 98% of it is totally uncalled for and without any substantial basis. And I guess as a lawyer, I like facts. I like facts. I don't mind you having an opinion if we're talking about the same set of facts. But I don't think that we can create facts that don't exist. You know, it's one thing's the two different things. And so bringing Patel in as FBI director, a nonpartisan position, supposed to be anyway, and I think it has been. Now, you know, my thing is always, and I've told clients this, done criminal defense for 28 years, heard a lot of stuff, seen a lot of stuff. I've seen some things I did not like, seen some things that were justified. But one thing about it is the truth can always withstand investigation. I don't care what it is, because that ain't going to change. Okay. Now, the version of the truth that people believe in, whether it amounts to a violation, another ball game.
Right.
Okay. That's another ball game.
Yes.
But the truth can withstand that. But right now, the truth is a casualty. When you can't get I'll just say it. When you can't get a politician to say that the 2020 election was not stolen from Donald Trump, when you can get one who won't say that, that's problematic, guys. That's problematic to me. Because I don't trust that person. Okay. To be honest with me. When did Ohio State just win the national championship? Yeah, they did. Did they cheat? I don't think so. Did they have the best roster money could buy? Yeah, probably.
Pretty good.
Probably had that one.
I gotta hit him.
I'm sorry. Yeah, see, we're getting all over the place.
Yeah, and so many things.
I know.
Put another
but
pin in.
That's why I'm going to be here for a while, because y'all made me stay
Love
here.
it.
Now I'm late.
That's why I love you here, man.
Well, we got to hit this top hour break. We'll be right back.
Broadcasting from the Riverside Chevrolet Master Control Center, this is WACV Cusana, News Talk 93.1 FM. When it's Chevy, it's Riverside.
With SRN News, I'm John Scott. A dozen leaders from Europe and Canada are in Ukraine's capital to mark the third anniversary of Russia's invasion. The visitors all calling for solidarity with Ukraine. The U.S. has imposed numerous sanctions. Those sanctions on dozens of people and oil tankers across China, the United Arab Emirates, India, and other jurisdictions for allegedly helping to finance Iran and its support for terrorist groups that launch attacks against the U.S. and its allies. This is the second round of sanctions imposed on Iranian oil sales since President Trump issued the National Security Presidential Memorandum 2, which calls for the U.S. to drive Iran's export of oil to zero. On Wall Street, the Dow had 223 points, the NASDAQ Composite 33 points in the red. This is SRN News.
Hey everybody, Charlie Kirk here. My schedule is about as crazy as it gets. 2 years ago, I made the decision to take control of my health. I chose my PhD weight loss and nutrition because I needed a plan that fit my hectic lifestyle. I quickly lost over 40 pounds, and it was simple. They customized a plan for my body and my schedule. Now I have the energy and focus to get through my busy day. PhD will help you too, and they won't let you fail. Just give them a call, schedule your weight loss consultation to see if the program is right for you. Call 864-502-1777. That is 864-502-1777. The first 11 callers who mention healthy will get 2 free weeks added to their weight loss package. Call 864-502-1777 and mention the word healthy, or visit them at myphdweightloss.com. That is myphdweightloss.com.
Rich Thomas Weather is brought to you by the Harriet 2.
The Harriet 2 Riverboat has the perfect way to start your weekend each Friday with the Spring Dinner Cruise. Enjoy live entertainment, dine on a delicious family-friendly dinner with your favorite beverage from the Cash Bar. Boarding starts at 6:30 and the cruise at 7. Book your cruise today at funinmontgomery.com.
Well, hi, everybody. This week's weather is much better than last week by a long shot. Today starts off cloudy, but gradually becomes sunny with a high temperature up to about 66. Not bad. Partly cloudy tonight, overnight low 42. Tuesday looks like a beautiful day. High temperature in the lower 70s with sunshine tomorrow. Wednesday's high warmer at 76, mostly sunny. Next chance of showers holding off till about Thursday, and then nice weather returning Friday and Saturday. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
Whether you're buying a home or auto or consolidating debt, CB&S Bank's personal loans get you where you need to go. Go to cbsbank.com to find a location near you or apply online today. All loans subject to credit approval, member FDIC, and equal housing lender.
From the Blue Water Broadcasting News Center, these are today's top stories. A Montgomery police officer was injured in the line of duty Saturday night. Police units were conducting a traffic stop in the area of Monticello Drive when a suspect, now identified as 31-year-old Edward Burns, attempted to flee on foot. During the pursuit, a MPD officer was injured and taken to a local hospital for treatment. The officer's name and extent of injuries has not yet been released. A missing 15-year-old girl has been located by the Montgomery Police Department. Audrina Burrells was last seen around 4 p.m. on February 6th in the 100 block of Mildred Street. MPD announced Burrells had been found safe late Saturday night in Montgomery. No additional details have been released. Renowned Alabama artist Clark Walker, known for his unique style and contributions to Montgomery's art scene, has passed away. Walker's critically acclaimed works are cherished in private homes and galleries throughout Montgomery and occasionally available for purchase. Clark Walker was 85 years old. From the Blue Water Broadcasting News Center, I'm Sky Mosley.
This hour of news and views is brought to you by our good friends at Alabama Home Mortgage. Alabama Home Mortgage, 567-4223. Visit them on the web at myalabamahomemortgage.com. NMLS number 1586368. An equal housing lender.
Hi, this is Jason with Wholesale Hunter. We've been advertising with Blue Water for a while now. We have great results with them. Appreciate everything they do with us.
Did you know that radio is the #1 reach platform in all of media? It's true. Call us to find out how to put radio's #1 reach to work for your business. Blue Water Broadcasting. Local folks helping local business.
For reliable electrical services in Central Alabama, trust the experts at Crosby Electric. Crosby's licensed and insured electricians are ready to tackle any project for your home, from troubleshooting, repairs, to installing new lighting and preventive maintenance. And Crosby understands the need for quality service for small business. Crosby is big enough for the largest job, yet small enough to bring real value. Visit CrosbyElectric.com to schedule your service. Crosby, powering Central Alabama with excellence.
The views and opinions of the following program are solely those of the host and other contributors. These do not necessarily represent those of Liberty Acquisitions 825, Blue Water Broadcasting, its management, staff, or any advertisers.
It's time for Montgomery's conversational radio show. It's news and views on News Talk 93.1 FM. To join the conversation, call 272-9228.
This is how you conduct yourself in a democracy.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back to the program. I'm your host, Joey Clark. Again, Eddie Bader here, of course, as well as Joe Reed. You know, when I announced you were on the show on Facebook, I think a lot of folks were confused, Joe.
I put your name, Joe Reed, and I think folks are like, I'm like, I know I have ways of testing who actually listens.
Yeah.
And that was a little test today on Facebook.
Several people failed, Joey.
Yeah. Well, they thought maybe I was having your father on,
geez.
and then they thought maybe I was having the mayor, your brother, on. I'm
Yeah,
like,
I get that too. There was a time he was my brother, Joey. There was a time, Joey.
Oh,
He was
man.
my brother. Now it's, I can't even get a table at Chipotle.
Oh, again, there's
When they're empty, I can't get a table full.
how times change. How times change. But again, there's so many different angles to all of this and what's going on right now. I want to stick on the reality TV thing because
Okay.
I think in particular, Trump has changed his public persona a bit. I've said this a few times on air, but it's worth repeating. Piers Morgan just did an interview, and Piers was on the first season of The Celebrity Apprentice, and Piers won The Celebrity Apprentice. And so he said, I probably spent hundreds of hours with Donald Trump, on camera, off camera, and I really got to know the guy. And he said, watching Trump, Piers watching Trump in 2016 all the way through 2020, he's like, I never saw the guy in public that I got to know when I was on that show for hundreds of hours. And then he said, after Trump is shot in the ear, and especially after he's sworn in, and the way he's doing like these Oval Office pressers every day, sitting at the desk, it's like, oh, there's the guy I got to know. So there's something about Trump. I mean, he's still got the barbs. He's still got he'll, breathe fire at you if you get on his bad side. But he does seem a little more laid back, especially I guess he doesn't have to run for re-election.
Right.
And I think really almost having your head blown off maybe has an effect on you as well.
That'll do it.
And so when you get this cast of characters, I think he's purposely picking people that were not only good on TV and good communicators, but were trying to fight certain systems. So Hegseth, he was really getting into talking to people at every level of the military. What's wrong with the military? And Trump essentially calls his bluff, saying, hey, you just want to run this thing? I think the same thing with Bobby Kennedy, for instance, for years fighting on this stuff. So let's put you the head of HHS. That one hurt you when I just brought up Bobby Kennedy, RFK Jr.
Because you can't make this stuff. Because you can't make it. Who puts the... Tell you what, who puts the person who has more health conspiracy theories, who is... I mean, a broken clock is right twice a day, and Kennedy didn't write that much. But who... baseless conspiracy theories on everything. I mean, let me say this. If you want to know something about my brother, and probably my brother would say this about me, ask me. Because we're going to why. I was there when my mom brought him home.
Sure.
I've seen him I know everything there is to know.
Sure.
When you're two people, your siblings and your spouse, okay? Those folks who know you, and your parents. Those are all the folks who really know you. Okay, really, really know you. When his sister got on TV and said what she said, yeah, I believe her. Okay? I believe Caroline Kennedy.
But is he the only...
Sister, not sister, cousin. I apologize, cousin.
Is he the only Republican in that whole family?
I don't think he is a Republican as much as I think he is. I don't think it's that. I think he's just... I said, I don't think Robert Kennedy Jr. is a Republican. I don't know what he is. I'm saying this.
But he spoke out against the party, and if his whole party is Democrat, then why wouldn't the family come out and say, hey, you're a bum?
Because I don't think because that's what I was saying earlier. I don't think that everything that the Democratic Party does is not good, in my opinion, isn't good and righteous and probably necessarily the best. And dare I say, no political party is like, there's too many people in there for that to be right.
Yep.
I think it depends on what's going on. And I think what Caroline was saying about her cousin is, well, my cousin's out here telling people don't get vaccinated and these are bad and it doesn't work and it doesn't help and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. He's got his kids lined up getting vaccines. Oh, wait a minute. Okay. Wait a minute now. Hold on. See, I got a problem with that one. Okay. I don't like hypocrisy. Not like,
But a lot of vaccines have been added to that schedule. You can tell me I'm good looking
and I'm not. You can say that. That's okay. I'll live with that one. But when you're the guy, I mean, what is Robert Kennedy's background to make him in charge of HHS? That's like putting me in charge of NASA, guys.
Because he's been fighting them in court for decades.
Oh, geez. Wow. And
his theory has been that there are certain corrupt interests that have been corrupting our public health institutions. And that there's been regulatory capture by the pharmaceutical companies in many instances. Which I think is pretty obvious.
Everything that Kennedy says is wrong because I haven't heard everything the man has said. When I think of what's in the best interest of this country and the people here, I like medical professionals.
Mm-hmm.
I like people with documented histories of getting stuff right, not people who are getting stuff wrong. Okay. I once made a paper airplane that flew. You should not make me head of the FAA. Okay. That's a bad idea. Okay. It's a bad idea. I once fixed a lawnmower. I don't belong on the NTSB. Okay. Don't belong there. We're putting people, like I said, in my opinion, in places where they don't have the background or the experience to make these things go the way, in my opinion, they're supposed to go. Again, like I said, I'm not getting into I think this is showmanship.
Yeah, and then you've made the experience point a few times. Can't experience be the enemy of innovation?
Now could it be? Yes. Okay. Could be. But I also think innovation comes from people who actually have the experience because they know where they're trying to go. Okay. I have zero experience in those things I just said. Zero. I can't even tell you how to innovate change in that area because I don't know what I'm really dealing with here. I don't know. And those are the things that trouble me when we're putting these folks. If you want to put Linda McMahon, for instance, I don't even know if she ever went to a public school. Okay.
Well, her job is to essentially dismantle.
That's what I'm saying. Her job is to get rid of the Department of Education.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the Department of Education has helped so many folks in Alabama. In a place like Alabama.
It's held back so many folks. It's held back so many folks.
We ought to talk about I don't know how Department of Education has held back so much from student loans to
let's just talk about elementary school education and junior high school education. At one point at Capitol Heights, we had a teacher one day that honestly lost his mental capacities and had us refer to him as a doctor the rest of the year. Now, other teachers came in the room. It was very obvious what the problem was. We kept that teacher.
That's a local school board issue, though. I don't think that's not
the Department of Education. Because everybody that complained about that worked for the DOE, and we kept that guy. And he ended up retiring 15 years later.
I think that'd be the school board. I mean, here in Montgomery. I would say And then,
another time I lived in another state.
Did he have a PhD in it? I'm not being funny.
No, he didn't. He literally, and I feel sorry for the guy. He
had a breakdown
one day. That was that.
So he just said he was a doctor.
He said he was a doctor. He started wearing, I don't know,
like a medical doctor.
Yeah, he started wearing a lab coat, but it said Campbell's soup on it.
Okay, yeah.
And we were okay with it.
Then I'm going to say maybe 3 questions. One, where's your principal?
That was the sad part.
They all came and went. The superintendent. I mean, this doesn't even get to DC. This is the easy fix by your local folks. That's an easy fix.
Right. If it's that messed up here local.
Well, I think it went further, right? I think at the faculty meetings, everybody was like, doctor.
Yeah, but I hear you. I don't know how to answer that. I guess not being that is utterly ridiculous to me. And when I say that, because I don't know
it
how
was.
I don't know how
as an 8th grader, we all looked around going, what is going on?
Yeah, I can't say I ever experienced anything like that.
And then you have other kids. I'm a big freedom of education guy. I sent my son to private school. I went to public school in Montgomery and all over the world, the Department of Defense brat. And private school, I think, was the best thing for my son. Public school had too many just distractions, to put it nicely.
Well, I guess I'm saying, I went to JD. I went to Cloverdale.
Mm-hmm.
Proud of both. I loved my teachers. Well, they were dedicated people. They taught me a whole heck of a lot. And I've got confidence in our public schools, I think, because I think that's for the general welfare of the public.
But don't we have report cards that show that the public schools aren't getting it done?
I think we do. I think one question is why? And here's an analogy I like to use. I think the commitment has to be there. And I don't think the commitment from our state is in public education. I don't think it's there. Not like it is in one area. And you won't disagree with me about this. Football.
Agree.
Oh, we're committed there. Rest assured, we are committed there. Alabama's got 6 titles in what, 16 years, 15 years. Auburn had what? Two and a half. Okay. Well, I'm just saying, but in that time, people are like, and Bryant Denny, I just use Alabama as just a reference point. Everybody knows what Bryant Denny looked like in 1980. Those of us who are older knows what it looked like in the 80s.
Sure.
We knew what Legion Field looked like.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. We know what they got out of that dump.
Yeah.
Okay. And we've seen what the locker room looks like and the investment there. I don't think that's any different. People say you just can't throw money at it. I agree. You just cannot back up a truck, people get the shovel and then walk away. No, you can't do that. Of course you can't do that. But here's what you can do if you're serious about it. What you can do is you can take that money, okay? You can invest it in students, okay?
I'm down with that.
You can get the best teachers and pay them, okay? Some real money. Let's be real. Let's be honest about that. Some real money. You can get good administrators and make this an attractive place. I mean, this is Alabama, okay? This is not California. This is not Florida. This is not New York, okay? Yet we've had two of the greatest football coaches in the history of that game. We've had two, not one. We've had two, okay? Because we put the emphasis there. If we put the emphasis on the education, we got one of the finest medical facilities in Birmingham. I know because I had open heart surgery. I don't mind telling me about that. I had it up there and got it done at UAB and living to talk about it because the best people were up there.
Right.
I'm not saying nobody else could have done it. I'm saying I was comfortable. Okay. Why? Because we put the money into that. Okay. I'm saying I know where Alabama puts its money and its effort. I know the results Alabama gets. Okay. And I'm okay with that. We're not doing that. And that is a disservice for the people ultimately as we age out, if we live long enough, all of us, who will ultimately be running this country, running this city, running this state. And we're going to need them to be smart. We'll need to be compassionate. We'll need them to be everything they need to be. We'll need to be good people. That's what we're going to need. But if we're not going to invest in them, it's not easy enough that, well, it's okay if I'm dead.
It gets into the point. For instance, Bobby Kennedy's looking at it, and you could go to somebody like Dr. Casey Means, who was top of Stanford Medical, and she kind of realized what I'm doing here, I could make a lot of money, but it's not going to. Why aren't we asking about all the underlying things that are making people so unhealthy when they show up when I'm doing surgery on their throat? Like we spend how much money in health over the last, say, 50, 60 years, and our health outcomes are getting worse and worse. We're spending how much on education over about the same time period. Our outcomes are definitely not getting better. We're spending a lot of money all around the nation. And you look at also like the amount of money spent on the Department of Defense. Are we actually ready? And we're pretty lethal with the advanced systems, but when you look at how depleted supplies are just supporting Ukraine, just supporting Israel, and you look at how much stuff costs, like when they pass. My point is, you can almost look at every area and you look at all this money being put into it, and yet the outcomes aren't producing. I think it goes to a structural issue with the way these institutions are set up. And in some ways, it might be just outright corruption. That big pot of money in whatever field, somebody's got a rake probably and pulling something in. But then it's also, I think, it goes back to that measure twice, cut once. I think everybody suspects somebody's going to steal. So we have all these rules and regulations on top of things to where one of my favorite people to bring up in education is John Taylor Gatto. He was Teacher of the Year in New York for a while, and then he was about to be named Teacher of the Year again, and he wrote this Wall Street Journal op-ed saying, actually, I can't take this in good conscience because our system's abusing kids. He doesn't mean in the over-the-top way, like we think of with the Catholic Church or something. Right. But he means like the reason I was Teacher of the Year is because I didn't follow the rules. In fact, I told kids who were struggling, okay, I can see you're struggling. I'm going to give you an applied problem. You go learn everything you need to learn to fix that problem you seem interested in. And I think it is going to take folks that are innovative, creative, and willing to knock some stuff down. And this has been my theory for a while. And I think what's happened is this populist coalition. I was going to vote for Bobby Kennedy in the Democratic primary just for fun because everybody's voting for Trump. And it's like, so I started watching Bobby early. And he did come across as like, I'm not running a polarizing partisan campaign. I really am trying to talk to everybody, and I'm going to lean into new media. From being in the libertarian world, Tulsi Gabbard has been great on civil liberties issues and Fourth Amendment issues for a long time. And then you start bringing in all these folks concerned about health, it creates this big coalition where it seems we're going in the direction of, okay, we're actually going to take on these systems we don't trust and we're going to change them. And it may not always work out, because here's what I've long thought, is that if you take the wrecking ball approach, don't apologize for being a wrecking ball. And what'll be fascinating is even if you knock stuff down that people might want, they won't build it back the exact same way. And even the folks complaining right now say, you knocked down too much, we got to build back. They're probably going to have new foundations to build things on top of. So you say you warned earlier about it could swing the other way. It very well could. You could get somebody who's more a moderate or blue, like this whole talk of a king or a Caesar. I mean, the true Caesar's purple, but like it could be red or blue with all this executive power. I can imagine somebody running more in the Democratic mold and wanting to rebuild a lot of stuff. But the fascinating thing is they probably won't build the systems that were knocked down. And it'll be it's sort of this breath of fresh air. Like you're willing to sort of run at this problem, try to solve a bunch of things that might upset other systems. And you're going to need a team of, when you look at them, you're like, what? What? Kash Patel, Bobby Kennedy, Tulsi, Hegseth? Like you're going to look at all this and go, well, this doesn't make sense. But there, I think, is some method to this madness. There's a lot of, let's take folks who are lower level and put them on top. Earlier when we were talking about DOGE, there was a Treasury Department. There's a lower level guy who had seen problems at Treasury for a while, but he's lower level. He's not going to rock the boat. He then helps DOGE out. He gives him advice on how to work certain things, and he's worried he's going to get fired. Well, his boss gets fired. He gets put in charge. And so I think there's going to be and I would love to bring this, like, can we franchise it out to states? Like when I look at the state of Alabama, I know for a fact, without giving away names or sources, I know for a fact there are people who work in state government who are very good at what they do. They take their job seriously, and they think a lot of the stuff they have to do through the bureaucratic hoops is just nonsense and a waste of money. But who's going to know that other than those people working those jobs? And who's going to actually talk openly and robustly for fear of losing their job? So I think that I've long described it as like we have this house that is America that have had all these add-ons put on, and now you're flipping light switches and it doesn't even do anything. You don't know. And so it's time to renovate. And you might, in the renovations, find certain things that you never would have suspected. And you might be like, oh, crap, we hit a load-bearing wall. Now, that's going to be the interesting part. And you bring up the DOD. You can imagine a world where, say, DOGE is in Israel. And DOGE finds, we're selling beepers and pagers to Hezbollah? What the heck are we even doing here? So there's definitely stuff like that. And I think some of the stuff at USAID was dual purpose, and it wasn't going to transgender surgeries. It was probably, that's just what they put on the invoice or whatever. And they knew they were up to doing something else. There's a lot of interesting schemes out there. But I think the mood, and it's why this new poll out, 72% of voters support DOGE, the mood is like, yeah, we've elected presidents, we've elected members of Congress, we've done this for a while, and it doesn't seem like anything changes. So let's at least change it. And it's that sort of energy that I think is being embraced by the president, being embraced by DOGE. And given the popularity, whether they're practical or principled or whatever, I think that's the way people are going to go for the time being. And I would almost see like what happened to the Democrats that were, well, what happened to a lot of these Democrats that were backing, say, Clinton and Gore, is they're now behind Trump. Like Mark Andreessen, from all these Silicon Valley guys are now with Trump. Elon was a Democrat for a while. And I think and like your Joe Rogan audience, your podcast audience, like Theo Vaughn and stuff, these are not like diehard conservative people by any standard, certainly not by the conservatives I know here in Alabama. And it seems this populist coalition is looking at that problem I just described and said, let's at least get something done. Let's try something new. And then you add the drama of Trump almost getting his head blown off and all these other things with the new media space. And I think that's where we find ourselves. I'm wondering what the Democratic Party is going to do. I almost think it will come from grassroots. I think it'll come from certain Democrats at the state level doing things that really work and then scaling that up to the national level. Because when I look at the top-down party, it's run by, I think, certain radical elements that use things like intersectionality and diversity, equity, and inclusion. They don't mean these words literally. They mean it to like, here's a good example. Like there are folks that are gay and they're like, we won the battle. we can get married and all this stuff legally. And there's still radicals in the so-called LGBT community who goes, no, it's not enough for you to be gay and just live your life in peace with all the rights and duties of any other citizen. You have to use your identity to queer society, to upend society. You have to use these sort of touch points, in this case, identity. It's not old school Marxism. It's more new, using different identity categories to upend institutions and change norms and conventions. And I think people are reacting to that as well. And I'd imagine there are a lot of Democrats, if you look at the polling, I mean, everyday people who vote, who don't trust Trump, don't trust Musk, who probably agree on some of these common sense issues. So I almost see do the 80-20 rule. I could see a Democrat going, well, we'll take 80% of all this efficiency stuff, but y'all are still crazy about wanting to fight too much wars and you don't want to tax the rich enough. And you could make a practical argument, it seems to me.
Well, I think you hit a lot of good points. I think after every election, one thing the media does, and they do it well, is they talk about the party that's out of party, what kind of soul searching they all have to go do. And it's the woe is me conversation and everything else. Do the parties now represent, I think they're always what I call people who, Democrats are always looking for the next Bill Clinton after this war. I think what irritated a lot of Democrats in the 90s was particularly Newt Gingrich's chastisement to the impeachment thing. And let me say this, when you are under oath and you lie, that is a felony.
Yeah.
Whether you're a Democrat, whether you're a Republican.
Yep.
Okay. I don't know if there's a felony. I don't care. Now, the Arkansas, I would say this. So, if someone thinks they're going to get me to say, that Bill Clinton, if you're going to impeach him on anything, it should have been that. Okay.
Yeah.
That, and we say, is it a high crime? I'm like, perjury. I don't give a damn what it's about.
Right.
But it is a, I think it's a high crime. I think perjury is.
Yeah.
Now, that being said, I think it was tough because Newt Gingrich was having his own extramarital affair at the same time.
Right.
Even
worse,
do as I say and not as I do.
But this is why at the time you had people like Lindsey Graham saying,
It's not just about sex.
trying to make your point. It's amazing how long that guy's been around.
Right. Another guy, another conversation.
I'm Lindsey Graham and I love women, Joe. I just love women.
Like I said, we do not have time for him, but we will come back.
And I love war and mineral rights and so many.
You're pretty good with them. I think Democrats are searching for the next Bill Clinton. They didn't get it. George Bush comes in.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bush, the whole landing on the aircraft carrier thing, which the media made a big deal out of that. I didn't think that was a big deal. Katrina meant more. Katrina was one of those where you saw the inefficiency of the government simply not like, why can't I pick up the phone call and say, get the help to these folks?
See the just plain just incompetence of the government.
Now, Donald Trump used the word disaster a lot of times. No, that really was a disaster.
Yes,
Katrina. Then you get Obama on the heels of that. So I think the thing to do after you get this, what I call the split term of Donald Trump. I think looking for the next Donald Trump will not occur just because these people just come every so often. That's just who they are, their personality. They just won't be another. People will try to do it. It won't be DeSantis.
Right.
It won't even be his vice president, Vance.
Okay.
Who? Don't know. Won't be those guys. What Democrats will have to do is to get back to things that matter to people, and that is what's in their pocketbooks and how you take government to help them to do good, and what it looks like because of Instagram, the media, all this other stuff, and people who are running it. It looks like this whole thing of you're the first this, the first that, or this or that. And it's hard to get a hold of the majority of people if you don't have an issue that majority of people can get around. When I still look at Alabama, I think one of the biggest issues that we've got in this state is our health care.
Yes, sir. 100%.
When people talk about Jackson,
they're still closing down rural clinics.
People. If you've got family in rural areas, if you're a woman if you're elderly,
and you have diabetes,
right? You got to get there. Come on, you can't tell me that we can't do better,
right?
In that area. Now I know because we're too busy trying to build private prisons, still trying to figure out who's going to get the contract for that. Okay, we've got CARES Act money, which some of our my Republican colleague friends voted against, but they were sure as hell happy to claim credit for it when the money got here. Let's have a party.
Spend it, baby.
It's like this guy. It's like we were talking to a friend of mine. We were talking about planning a fraternity party once. He realized how much it was going to cost, all this stuff, and we said, to do all this stuff, it's going to it's going to be well north of $1,000. We threw that party. It was a great party. You could not get this guy from being the first in the picture to get his picture taken, and what a great, and it was all his idea. it was amazing. He was killing us in there, and so you get that sort of thing. And I think Democrats have to get back when I say to that. Wallace always said that they were what the downs with the difference between Democrat and Republican. I think Wallace was right about that issue. I think it depends on which issues are magnified by which media group, and which brings to another point, which is that media groups that are slowly being consolidated into the hands of a few, that our press starts to get, is not free anymore. Right. It is just what is. So now, like I said, I think one of the battles we're fighting, of course, is what is true and what's not true. I like to do 2 and 3 checks when someone sends me something crazy in the email that, like the last thing I heard, that Stacey Abrams had stolen $2 billion. Now
2.8,
right, $2 billion, is what it was. And I told her, I said, I don't know anybody black who's got $2 billion, and I don't know anybody black who can get away with it and not get caught. That's just real talk. That's just real talk. The closest thing I heard, I remember, was Congressman William Jefferson, who was on the Hill, was Congressman of Louisiana, who gave new meaning to the terms cold cash. He was the one who took the bribe in D.C.
Oh, that's right.
And put the money in his freezer. In his freezer.
Go hard cash, baby.
That's that. But I'm just like, I don't think Stacey Abrams did that, because you got to have she better have better sense than that.
And I got another break here, but I've been using the new Grok 3, and the new functions are pretty remarkable and amazing. Though you wouldn't want to trust those things completely. It is pretty good at actually, like, you can even fact check Elon's post, and it's pretty daggum impressive as a system. Though I remember asking ChatGPT about 2 months after the assassination of David Butler, Pennsylvania, why was President Trump shot? And it came back, President Trump has not been shot. There are no credible sources that say, and I was able to essentially game it, that it was Thomas Matthew Crooks.
But he had to trick it a little bit.
And then it had fixed that exploit by the next day. So I think what's going to happen is there are going to be new tools that allow for truth. I think the model of 3 mainstream big networks and a few reputable newspapers and even just cable news and radio, it's dying. I think we're going to see more. You have these big social media companies, and you're going to have a lot more independent journalism. You're going to, of course, have the activists. But I think if you can create tools that sort of give the fact-checking sort of its due, to where people in real time can fact-check information and do it pretty swimmingly, that I think that will help. That will certainly help. But I got, like I said, have to hit a break, and need to remind folks that this part of the program is brought to you by Invista Advisors. Normally we talk to Austin Branco, but he was busy working, and I like to hear that from our sponsors. But when it comes to Invista Advisors, of course, they can help you with investments, but that's not the beginning of the conversation. Whether you're working with Austin or Brant McDonald or the entire team there, when you call them up 387-0094, they're going to do a holistic approach to planning your long-term financial future. So it could be things like life insurance. It could be like maybe run a small business and you want to improve its operations, or like you're kind of wanting to retire and hand this thing off. Could be run an endowment, or you just have an estate or household that you really need to plan out everything. They're going to begin with that conversation, get to know you, your goals in life, where you are in life, and then explain all the strategies, recommendations, and whatnot to plan that financial future. So sit down with them today. That number to start the conversation, 387-0094. That's 387-0094. And be sure to tell them that Joey, that fella on the radio, sent you.
He may not know whether he's coming or going, but whether you're going to work or coming home, Greg Budell is there. Mornings, 6 till 9, and afternoons, 3 till 6. Only on News Talk 93.1 FM, WACV.
Rich Thomas weather, a service of Wiley Sanders Truck Lines, where over-the-road dump truck drivers are needed right now. Home twice a week and every weekend, must leave early on Sunday with Blue Cross Blue Shield. Call them now at 855-777-9785.
Rich Thomas weather.
Well, hi, everybody. This week's weather is much better than last week by a long shot. Today starts off cloudy, but gradually becomes sunny with a high temperature up to about 66. Not bad. Partly cloudy tonight, overnight low 42. Tuesday looks like a beautiful day. High temperature in the lower 70s with sunshine tomorrow. Wednesday's high warmer at 76, mostly sunny. Next chance of showers holding off till about Thursday, and then nice weather returning Friday and Saturday. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
What's your biggest investment? More than likely, it's your home. So treat it that way when you hire a painting contractor. At PBS Painting, there are no gimmicks, no $99 specials. Just quality painting and someone who treats your home with the same respect that you do. At PBS Painting, we have been painting for years and look forward to many more years to come. With PBS Painting, the job gets prepped properly, whether it's cleaning, scraping, or priming. We always use quality products, which is a must for a quality paint job. So if you're looking for a painter that doesn't need upfront money and is on the job at all times, then please give me a call. Scott Bowers and PBS Painting, 294-5122. That's PBS Painting, 294-5122. Look at some of our work on Facebook at PBS Painting Montgomery.
This is your roving reporter, and today I am talking with an elk. Hey man, Mr. Elk, I was just wondering, what do elk do to take care of their money? Well, like most smart folks, we call David Ernest. You mean Alabama's most favorite asset preservationist? That's him, man. We call him up at 334-279-7431 or 205-479-0839. I see. Yes, he is our preferred money man. The money man with the money plan. You've been paying attention. Well, could you give us those numbers one more time? 334-279-7431 or 205-479-0839. And I just want to try to give you a heads up, man. Oh, what's that? I'm not an elk. Not an elk, huh? Well, then, pray tell, what are you? Knights of Columbus. I am not even going to make a comment. Well, the baby liked it.
Hello, everyone. Robbie Pelt with Capital City Roofing. If you think about it, your home is your biggest investment in life. Your roof covers your home, so why jeopardize your biggest investment on a roofer you don't know anything about when you can deal with a reputable roofing company like Capital City Roofing? We have an A+ Better business rating and the best manufacturers and workmanship warranties available. We do all residential and commercial roofing applications that are certified through the manufacturer to ensure you get the best material and workmanship money can buy. We also have your project in our best interest before and after construction has been done. Don't hesitate to call us if you have any roofing issues or questions. We will match any of our competitors' price and give you the same great workmanship warranty. We also give free estimates. Give us a call today and let us show you the difference. 277-3311. That's 277-3311. Or you can check us out on the web at www.capitalcityroofing.com. Capital City Roofing. We capitalize the roofing industry.
This hour of news and views is brought to you by our good friends at Alabama Home Mortgage. Alabama Home Mortgage, 567-4223. Visit them on the web at myalabamahomemortgage.com. NMLS number 1586368. An equal housing lender.
Progressive knows finding your new home was a dream come true. You wanted it close to town, with a picture window overlooking a yard. And you found it. Now, when you sit down to dinner, you've got front row seats to your neighbor's daily pickleball game. Progressive can't save you from your noisy neighbors, but we can save you money when you bundle your home and auto with us. Get a quote at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers not available in all states.
The River Region's News Talk Station. News Talk 93.1. WACV. News Talk 93.1.
Welcome back. This entire hour brought to you by Alabama Home Mortgage. And they're at Alabama Home Mortgage. Kim Williams, turn down the music, hippie. Thank you. Excuse me. They're at Alabama Home Mortgage. Kim Williams and Madeline Cannon are ready to help you with any and all of your needs when it comes to buying a home.
Yeah.
They can sit down with you. It's a quick conversation to get pre-approved.
Right. You need that.
And that's, don't go into the housing market without getting pre-approved.
Don't put the cart in front of the horse.
My goodness. And they can walk with you every step of the way, all the way to the closing day. And of course, they can help you with a great refinance deal.
Yes.
I know a lot of folks struggling with credit card debt. And even if you are going to refinance at 8, 9, even 10%.
Better than that 29% you was paying on interest.
Yes, on that credit card interest. And of course, if you're a veteran, they have veterans in their blood there at Alabama Home Mortgage, and they know the latest with all the VA home loan programs. It is the best deal in town. If you're a veteran not taking advantage of these benefits, you're leaving money on the table.
Exactly.
Just call up Kim and Madeline today at 567-4223. That's 567-4223. Or visit them on the web at myalabamahomemortgage.com. There is a difference in mortgage companies, like Kim and Madeline proved that to you today. NMLS number 1586368, an equal housing lender. Coming up, we'll have Michael Cohen calling in as usual. And this show is flying by.
It is,
by
man.
the way.
It always is when I'm with you guys.
Yeah.
Michael Cohen, like the lawyer Michael Cohen?
No. No, Cohen's electronic.
You guys, y'all laughing.
If you had that number, I'd go like, yeah, that's the Michael Cohen. Yeah, let's hook him up.
Finish laughing here, and then I
try to call him Michael Cohen.
Come on, you guys.
As many things as you bought from him, you know.
I know Michael. Yeah, I know Michael. I'm just messing with y'all.
I love Mr. Trump. No, I hate Mr. Trump. I love Mr. Trump. No, I hate Mr. I do everything for Mr. Trump. I beg that porn star. Like, goodness, that guy.
There you go.
So I'm looking forward to talking to Michael, and because this is a short segment, I will admit one very clear as day mistake Trump has made so far. I mean, maybe there are many, but there's one that's plain as day, and it's on tape. This is his event honoring Black Americans. I believe is where he gave Tiger Woods a big medal, and at one point, though, he introduces. Well, I'll just play the clip.
Yeah, let's see.
We also have the head of Pfizer here, so I want to thank him. One of the great people, one of the great businessmen. Thank you, Albert. Thank you. Thank you very much.
The crowd is.
Hey, I don't know what that's about.
Thank you very much. I want to congratulate.
Yeah, as soon as he announces the head of Pfizer, the crowd assembled.
Turned on him.
Like,
what was that about?
They don't like Pfizer.
Oh, okay. Does anybody know why? I mean, I don't know.
Pfizer courts, is that what we're talking about? Pfizer courts?
Price of drugs, is that what it is?
Or the whole COVID thing too,
yeah,
made these sort of types pretty unpopular.
Yeah, that.
I mean, but it was very organic. Trump has shocked himself, like, and it's a pretty sizable boo there.
Yeah,
just trying to say
the
CEO is here.
Coming.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, look, pharmaceutical folks do good work. There are always things that happen when you're testing this stuff, and sometimes there are reactions that people have. I've certainly had my reactions to certain things, but I'd rather have it than not. You know.
In this case, I was glad to let it go by. The harder they push that vaccine, and I'm sorry, I'm not a big government fan, but the harder they push something, the more I know. Nah, it's,
really?
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. Now that's what it was. I knew it was something. It is RFK suspending like this whole thing about the flu vaccine, and how we're not doing that. And I'm like, measles on the rise in Texas, which we said we eradicated it.
Yeah, we knocked it down. I don't know if we eradicated it.
I'm just saying what they say. Say we got rid of it. Right. I was like, okay, all right, we did. And we're going back on this. See, these are the little things that trouble me. Like I said, they trouble me. My ears perk up early because when that thing is full, when it's out of control, then we're in a reactive state, and I don't want us to be in that situation. Everybody has loved ones. We do. And none of us are going to live forever. We all know and understand that. But no one's trying to see anybody leave sooner rather than later, over some stuff that we can prevent. Like the polio vaccine. I mean, he's saying, that was not a bad, that was not a bad thing. I don't think that was a bad one. No, that's not a bad thing. But RFK doesn't think it's necessarily a good thing.
Well, he was more talking about newer versions.
Yeah.
And his point is always like, as I've heard it, is say you want to inoculate somebody to a particular disease, it works. They don't get that disease, but what are the long-term health effects of those people aside from getting to that disease? What are the long-term health effects of taking that particular vax? I mean, and you have to look at every particular one. It does need to be an open process, and his argument is it's not been an open process. In fact, they've been very cagey, and they have immunity when it comes to safety concerns with these things.
Well, those pharmaceutical folks aren't going to give that up for him. He's not going to get anywhere. That money's too deep.
Well, Pfizer, during COVID, Pfizer, I remember making jokes at some event I had to MC, but Pfizer became a meme because folks started noticing like how many things, like heck, even still on this station, they just pour money everywhere in media. So like it was a meme of a montage of all the brought to you by Pfizer. And folks started going, what the heck? Okay, it's drug companies and it's like military defense contractors paying all the bills to these networks and cable. So it made people suspicious. I'll just put it that way.
And I get, look, says I get it. And probably folks in Alabama, and I would say a lot of black folks in my dad's age and even some younger because of Tuskegee, you know, they're going to be triple.
Yeah.
You know, quadruple suspicious of, you know,
with
stuff
good reason.
Stuff like that. I mean, it wouldn't be, and that's happened. So, I mean, like I said, I get it. I guess I think if the faith in all of our institutions, and this is, again, we were talking about kind of off the air, I think when our leaders start, it's one thing to say I can improve on this.
Mm-hmm.
It's one thing for me to say I can make this better. Okay. But it's another thing when our leaders start to denigrate and demonize our institutions, that they're broken and they're so bad. I mean, you know, but I'm the only one who could see. That's the stuff that worries me. That's the talk that worries me. Not that I can't make it, you know, I can improve on what's already here, but I've got to destroy this. And in my infinite wisdom, I'm going to rebuild it. And then when I see the people who are supposed to like I'm going to remake the FBI, in my opinion, as if the FBI needs to be remade because agents executed a warrant on your spot. Where if you just simply told those folks, done what they asked you to do, which is give the stuff back that you took. I mean, look, I know FBI agents. I know these guys roll. Like when I say super, one family member, other type friends. I can tell what they do and what they don't do. I'm not going to tell you there aren't rogues out here. That's not what I'm saying. But that's not right. That's everywhere.
Well, I would look at the top. I wouldn't look at field agents.
Yeah, I mean, but they don't go around doing things illegal because they want their job. You know,
be my assumption, right?
Yeah, everybody wants their. I mean, when the guys go out and they execute a warrant, they do that to everybody. I think I've always thought the whole SWAT team and the windbreakers were over the top for a lot of things. Now, you know, you're going to Ruby Ridge. Okay, yeah, you might need your lunch pail. Okay, but when you're going into you know XYZ house neighborhood, they do the same thing everywhere. But these guys shouldn't be terminated because they did their jobs. And what I worry about, and I'll just tell you this. I worry about, even though it's a prerogative, but the other side of me says, when somebody gets to say, I get to pick the lawyers who tell me this, I get to pick the law enforcement officers who are going to do this, then my thing is I'm firing all the inspectors, doing all this stuff. All right, then who's watching me? All right, if I've got the FBI in my pocket, okay, and I said flip it, I was tell somebody, flip it and picture somebody who you do not like.
I just had that.
With the same thing.
Just had that.
Okay, didn't have the FBI in their pocket. I told somebody, said even when Hillary Clinton ran, no matter what you want to say about that, with I can't think of his name. You know, talking about the FBI director,
Coney. Yeah, exactly.
Who said what he said, and which I believe was the difference in the election. I believe that.
It's part of it, definitely.
And the FBI not supposed to, you know, comment about stuff like that, but he did it anyway. People could argue that, but of course, my feeling is that if someone's looking for a way to get off, then they found it. And that's just what they wanted to do.
Right.
So I don't get, but the same thing. I'm like, not so sure about that. But if I know someone who will eat a mile long of my stuff, all right, in that position, what's going to stop me from doing stuff? Okay. If I break if I break the rule knowingly, or if I break it unknowingly, which some things are strict liability, other things are intent oriented. Or if I say, you know something, I know that's a little dubious, but shoot, I'm gonna try it anyway. I know Joey's the head of the FBI. I just put him there.
That's what the courts are for.
Well, but before you get to court, Joey's got to investigate.
Oh, I agree.
Me.
And that's been some of the most frustrating things.
And Joey ain't going to.
Things that are happening that I know are illegal. They go, we'll go to court.
I got to hit another break here, but I mean, I
think Joey here.
I think dismantling the FBI as it exists in Washington, D.C. is great. We already got 500 new agents at Redstone. Let's give us more.
That is employment for Alabama.
We love the FBI field agents. Come on down.
Those are good jobs.
Like, we're not getting rid of the central nervous system that is the whole Huntsville complex. I mean, that's a big...
Well, did Katie say that, or did...
Both Katie and Tuberville did a joint thank you to Kash Patel for sending 500. Yeah.
Well, I mean,
and more's coming, probably.
Yeah, I don't know. What's UAB going to do with all the money we're going to lose on research? I know we're hitting a lot.
Hopefully, yeah.
Can we get that back?
Well, cut down the overhead.
But here's the problem. Here's the thing, and that's what I'm saying, this slash and burn technique. A lot of the stuff that they do at UAB from staff and everything else, all this money they're claiming is waste. That's depending on how you look at it. This funds the salaries of all these folks who help out and contribute to all the research that goes on up there that makes UAB what it is. You take that away, they can't do that stuff. When you got kids up there dying of cancer who need every advantage to do, yeah, I'm gonna waste that. Okay, call it what you want to. I'm all for it. Okay, the government is never going to be free from hardly anything. Unless if you want to dig, go to the Department of Defense. But people who can create life-saving techniques, medications, all these things. Again, the research. The money you have to waste to even get to it.
The main gripe there with NIH grants is, why is your overhead over 15%? Why isn't more of this money going to the actual research?
I think I think they can answer that. I think that can be answered. I think because they got people in there who can do that. I don't care about the question. It's never the question. It's always the answer that gets you. And so I'm okay. I'm okay with that. Ask the question. If it makes, and here's where I guess the difference is going to be. Will it make sense to the person who now you got to answer to? If it does, it stays. If they don't think it's valuable to them, okay, because, some things that they may be insulated from that people in this room are not insulated from, then that's one thing.
Right.
But it's going to be very, very, and I think Senator Britt found this out. Sometimes, you're in a position where you can put your thumb in the dike and you can stop stop some stuff. But when folks start slashing and burning, sometimes you're on the other side of that, and that's happening a whole lot. And I'll we'll do the Twitter things next time for it. But
and on that note, I got to hit this break. In a minute or two, we should have Michael Cohen, the guy at Cohen's Electronics, something. Mr. Trump.
Broadcasting from the Riverside Chevrolet Master Control Center, this is WACV Cusana, News Talk 93.1 FM. When it's Chevy, it's Riverside.
With SRN News, I'm John Scott. The UN General Assembly approving a Ukrainian resolution demanding an immediate withdrawal of all Russian troops. The vote in the 193-member world body, whose resolutions are not legally binding, was 93-18 with 65 abstentions. Clint Hill, the Secret Service agent who leaped onto the back of President John F. Kennedy's limousine after the president was shot, then was forced to retire early because he remained haunted by memories of the assassination, died Friday. He was 93. One person killed in a weekend avalanche in Colorado. Authorities in Grand County said the avalanche occurred in an area known as the Fingers above Berthoud Pass in central Colorado. On Wall Street, the Dow is up 197 points. This is SRN News.
Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt or personal loans? With credit card debt at all-time highs, Debt Relief Advocates is urgently notifying consumers of debt relief now being made available, designed to aid consumers with out-of-control credit card debt. Those who qualify and enroll for this relief program will only have to pay back a fraction of what they owe. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. This is a relief program that credit card companies would rather you not know about, as it ends your debt nightmare and saves you lots of money. Consumers owing at least $10,000 in credit card debt or personal loans can now take advantage of this debt relief as the cost of living skyrockets. Debt Relief Advocates has established a relief hotline for you to call to learn what debt reduction you may qualify for, so don't wait. For this free information, call the Relief Hotline at 800-606-4110. 800-606-4110. Again, that's 800-606-4110.
Rich Thomas Weather is brought
brought to you by the Harriet 2.
The Harriet 2 Riverboat has the perfect way to start your weekend each Friday with the Spring Dinner Cruise. Enjoy live entertainment, dine on a delicious family-friendly dinner with your favorite beverage from the Cash Bar. Boarding starts at 6:30 and the cruise at 7. Book your cruise today at funinmontgomery.com.
Well, hi, everybody. This week's weather is much better than last week by a long shot. Today starts off cloudy, but gradually becomes sunny with a high temperature up to about 66. Not bad. Partly cloudy tonight, overnight low 42. Tuesday looks like a beautiful day. High temperature in the lower 70s with sunshine tomorrow. Wednesday's high warmer at 76, mostly sunny. Next chance of showers holding off till about Thursday, and then nice weather returning Friday and Saturday. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
You can make your ASC loan payments from your phone anytime, anywhere. It's quick and easy. www.yourasccu.com. Federally insured by NCUA.
Are you tired of the mainstream media's biased reporting? Do you want to stay informed on the news that really matters to you? Look no further than 1819 News. At 1819 News, we bring you the latest in Alabama news, politics, sports, culture, and more. We've assembled a team of journalists with Alabama values dedicated to the truth and the truth alone. Visit us at 1819news.com today. That's 1819news.com. Subscribe to our newsletter. Honest News, Alabama Values.
The Tierce family has been your local Roto-Rooter service since 1964. Drain cleaning, plumbing repair, and those troublesome septic tanks, no problem. Technology has changed a bit in the last 54 years. Video inspections of lines to locate problems is available, as well as scheduling your appointment online. River Region residents have trusted Roto-Rooter for over half a century. You can too. Call today at 272-7130 or visit online at rotorooteralabama.com.
Call Roto-Rooter, that's the name. And legal troubles down the drain. Roto-Rooter.
Before you buy new floors at a discount store and get them installed by the cousin of a friend who does this kind of thing, consider the better option. Prattville Carpet carries the most reputable brands for selection, style, and quality you can trust. And with their non-transferable lifetime installation warranty, you'll never have to worry about hardwood warping or carpet buckling. Your floors will stay as beautiful as the day they installed them.
Hi, I'm Ray Bowles from Prattville Carpet. If you're looking for carpet, hardwood, laminate, vinyl plank, or ceramic tile, call us today for your free measure. Prattville Carpet, we're more than just carpet.
This hour of News and Views is brought to you by our good friends at Cole Plumbing, 279-8919. Cole Plumbing is number one in the number two business. You don't have to dig a hole. They have proprietary pipelining technology. Ask them about their tankless water heaters. Remember, when you have trouble with your bowl, call on Cole.
Folks, let's go right back to the phones and talk to Michael Cohen with Cohen's Electronics and Appliances. Hey, Michael, how you doing today, sir?
Hey, I'm doing great. How are y'all?
Oh, we're just flying through the show today. Yeah. It's a good Monday so far. What's the score there today at Cohen's?
28-7.
Ooh.
So
we run one back.
It's, some of what we do, we do go out there to sell our customers new equipment.
Yeah.
And they come in, they buy new equipment, but sometimes we get out there and we realize that their existing television, in this one case, was unplugged.
Oh.
Not sure who had installed it. They put an extension cord partway through the wall. It came out and plugged in behind the cabinet or something. But at any rate, you have 3 points that could be unplugged.
Right.
And anyway, we figured out that it was one that was unplugged, and the customer just paid a service charge. And
well, you saved the day for them, man.
Well, that's right. That's right. I mean, we try to do the right thing, and we want to make our customers happy. And of course, in this situation, he's probably good to go. Although his old TV was way old, he would have benefited from the new television. But at any rate, he gets to save that, and I think he had Michael Jacks do something else for him.
Nice.
But at the end of the day, everybody's happy, and that's what it's all about, is having happy customers.
Well, folks, you can always check out the great products there at Cohen's at thinkcohens.com, but because of that, say, service side of things, go see these great products in person and get to know the people there at Cohen's. Just stop by 2515 Eastern Boulevard here in Montgomery. They're open 9 to 6 Monday through Friday, 9 to 4 on Saturdays. And when you find Michael or one of the team members, be like, hey, I heard Michael on that show with Joey and who's the other guy?
Eduardo
Baderes.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the guy that was walking his dog.
Or is my British, I turned Siri to a British accent.
Did you?
Yeah, so when I say call Eddie Bader, it goes, calling Eddie Bader.
They'll never get it right.
Well, at least his first name's not Master.
There you go.
But,
Not today, anyway.
Well, always appreciate the time, Michael.
Have a great day.
You too, Michael. See you, buddy.
We'll be right back, folks.
Since 1966, Alabama Sheriff's Youth Ranches has been more than just a place to stay. It's been a place to belong. For children facing hardships through no fault of their own, our ranches provide more than shelter. We offer a warm home, a loving family, and a future filled with hope. With open arms, we welcome these young hearts, giving them the love, structure, and guidance they need to heal, grow, and thrive in a warm Christian environment. Together, we can give Alabama's children the chance they deserve, a chance to dream, to succeed, and to feel truly cherished. Every donation stays within Alabama, directly impacting the lives of the children who need it most. Join us in making a difference. Visit alabamasheriffsyouthranches.org. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram, and download our app from your app store. We'd be honored to have you as a part of our mission to lift up Alabama's youth. And remember this, it's easier to build boys and girls than to repair men and women.
The views and opinions of the following program are solely those of the host and other contributors. These do not necessarily represent those of Liberty Acquisitions 825, Blue Water Broadcasting, its management, staff, or any advertisers. It's time for Montgomery's conversational radio show. It's news and views on News Talk 93.1 FM. To join the conversation, call 272-9228.
This is how you conduct yourself in a democracy?
This is a Trump country. We live in the Southeast. We drink sweet tea. We don't drink socialist Kool-Aid.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back. Final hour of the program. Joe had to run, but always good having Joe Reed on the show.
I really enjoyed conversation with Joe, on air, off air. I really enjoyed that.
See, I'm trying to, by the way, playing this new song, like, especially when it goes into this next part, like, take you back to your 80s roots.
Oh?
Yeah, it's, that wasn't the intention as I started, but I'm like, ooh, what's that synth sound? What's that, like, very 80s right there. Very 80s.
Little Thompson Twins.
Yeah. A little like Ice House.
Yeah.
A little flock of seagulls.
Yep. Had a good 80s weekend. For some reason, that was in my algorithm all weekend, was 80s jams.
What's the, not the hit by Flock of Seagulls I ran, but Space Age Love Song?
Mm-hmm.
It's a great song. Oh, that one hits you in the field?
Bad. Susanna has walked in me and the whole house be jamming to that, and I'm singing like a moron. And she'll just sit there and watch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's a good song.
It is. I wanted to cut my hair that way, Joey. In Highland Gardens, it was not looked upon very, I don't know, as a popular thing to do. So my mom said, your hair won't do that. And she wouldn't pay the barber to tell me the same thing.
No. So, again, Kash Patel is not only the head of the FBI, he's now been named the head of the ATF.
Yep.
Because they are cleaning up the ATF. Dan Bongino,
yeah,
named deputy director of FBI, which is, it wasn't leaked. How was
I was
this
gonna
not
say,
leaked?
Did it catch you by surprise?
Yes,
'Cause
I think
I
it
knew
caught
it was in the
everybody by
works, but I
surprise.
didn't have any idea it was really going to happen, especially
Right.
now.
How did that not leak?
That was
And
amazing.
Bongino on his show, which again, he took half the stations from Limbaugh, has a huge podcast. He gave a very emotional saying, I'm going to quit this job because I'm going to do the job the president asked me to do. Of course, also over the weekend, the head of the Joint Chiefs fired.
Yeah.
Hegseth saying he's just not the right man for the job and
Agreed.
serves at the pleasure of the president.
Yes, they do.
And the guy he's replaced him with is when Trump goes into, I think, Iraq.
Yep.
And they run in to take out ISIS. And he
Yep.
wants it to happen quickly. And everybody's saying it's going to take 2
Years.
years and all this stuff. And he meets a general, and it's General Kane. He goes, what's your first name? Raisin, sir. Raising Cane. Oh.
Ed, you're a general.
And, Raising Cane got the job done in months.
Yep.
Trump was very impressed by a guy who said, I want you to do this, and he got the job done in months. He said, you unshackle me from all these lawyers and whatnot. And I heard a description the other day, I think it was on Sean Ryan's podcast, where when you first go into Afghanistan after 9/11, like the U.S. military, I think the Army wanted to do a tank-like invasion through Pakistan or whatever. The CIA wins the argument, no, let us use unconventional warfare means. Let us, have our agents, our special ops and stuff, call in airstrikes and stuff, and we'll just have them on the run, which is true. And that sort of strike system, like we got a guy, we're painting that target. It went from seconds to minutes to you kept adding new rules and all the rest of the, forces come in where it would take months, weeks, months, if ever, to where it's just shut down. And you're like, what happened to the effectiveness? And this is the point Hegseth has made. This is the point Trump has made. This is a point I think a lot of folks in the military have made. 72% of voters support DOGE. This is from a new Harvard Harris poll, and it shows the Democratic Party's approval dropping to record lows, which around 2018, Trump's approval up like 9-10 points compared to where he was last time he was in office.
I think most people, like myself, and probably you too, are impressed with nothing else but the speed of what things are happening.
Right.
They take no prisoners.
And one thing we didn't get to is Alice Johnson, who Trump pardoned, I believe, in his first term. She has now been named the pardon
Head of pardons, right?
So she is going to be combing through folks in the federal system and say these are the folks that have been acting well, that maybe were wrongfully or too longly convicted and sentenced, and present that to the president. Pope Francis remains in critical condition, receiving blood transfusions. It's been 10 days he's been hospitalized, and he's not doing well at all. Apple announced big news today, plans to spend $500 billion, invest $500 billion in the United States, hire 20,000 people over the next 4 years. Saying we are bullish on the future of American innovation. And, I forgot to play this game while we had Joe here. I guess we could do it now.
All right.
Guess, Eddie, and let's bring Papa B on this Papa B, before you get going on what you want to talk about, I want you to play this game with us. Guess who said it? Okay. It's just a quote. Quote, upon employees in the federal service rests the obligation to serve the whole people. A strike of public employees manifests nothing less than an intent on their part to prevent or obstruct the operations of government. Such action, looking towards the paralysis of government by those who have been sworn to support it, is unthinkable and intolerable. Who said it?
Barack Obama.
Nope.
Yeah, honestly, I don't know. It doesn't. It doesn't sound like somebody I'd vote for. I can tell you that much.
Okay, so if I could read it, upon employees in the federal service rests the obligation to serve the whole people. It was FDR.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
So. You did pretty good at your little, imitation voices there.
Oh, he does.
I mean, you're not always on point, but most of the time.
I think he does women's voices very well.
We've seen things like this happen before in the organizations. This is a change agent coming in and kicking butt and taking names. Basically, just firing everybody.
Well, I think Clinton fired and Obama fired federal employees too.
They did.
There's nothing new here.
No, nothing new at all. Obama, especially when he got elected to that second term, boy, did he go just absolutely crazy. I don't know. That's why we got into all this trouble with DEI and pronouns and everything else. I mean, this was his legacy. But to my point, I remember there was like a hospital or medical center down in years ago. And the corporation that owned it, they sent a guy in, and I mean literally, he fired everybody.
Yep.
And just about 3 weeks, maybe 6 weeks after he fired them, he started hiring them back.
Yep.
At about half the pay that they were getting. But you know what? They went ahead and took it because there was nowhere else to work, really, basically. And I mean, maybe they weren't getting overpaid at the time. Maybe they were being paid just about right at the time. But at the time, the place was going bankrupt and was going to go under. I mean, they were about to have to file bankruptcy. And we find ourselves in this country in a similar situation. We just can't pay all these people to sit around twiddling their thumbs and typing up, all kinds of reams of data that just don't get used,
Well, did you see the video pop up this weekend of, I forget her name, but walking through the SBA offices and said all the Small Business Association grantors have to be back in the offices. I mean, these are federal offices that are, we're heating, we're cooling, we're paying all these utilities, maintenance on, and nobody's in them.
Nobody's there.
Yeah.
So why are we paying for them?
I agreed.
And I hear all this belly aching from the Department of Justice. Oh, they're doing this. They're this is unprecedented. Blah 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 blah.
Right.
No, it's not. And then they want to try to cast it as being, completely partisan act and weaponizing justice, and I mean, as if they weren't doing anything like that. The duplicity of these people just is astounding. They cannot smell the stench of their own poopy pile that they're slathered in.
Well, some people don't believe their stinks. So.
They don't believe their own stuff stinks.
Yep.
But it does, brother. Really, really bad.
Well, and
That's
it's not, by the way,
it's
not just federal employees that are being fired or let go. Joy Reid was fired from MSNBC.
Yes.
And I think Lester Holt no
Lester
longer going to be at NBC News. So change is happening in the media.
I find that
Big time
somewhat
changes.
that's like icing on the cake. I mean, no, that's like cherry on the top after you put the icing on. Joy Reid, oh my gosh, how many people did she have listening to her in the final hours? I
7.
mean, it was like the bunker, the Hitler's bunker at, after the Allied forces were coming. There weren't very many people, and they were all dying off, So, yeah, finally some of the mainstream media types are coming to terms. Well, I mean, and the people that were paying the bill were not the people. I mean, usually, what is it? You sell advertising.
Yeah.
That's how you stay afloat. But these people weren't selling advertising.
No.
They weren't selling enough advertising.
I'm sure they were getting some backhanded money.
Made.
Yep.
No, and it
All
was
they were
probably
doing-
a liability to the corporate parent.
I think at this point, it certainly will be, from the future on, because I think both of those are going to have nothing negative or
Here's the
positive
thing,
to
whether
say.
it's MSNBC or CNN, or even Fox, but Fox seems to be going pretty strong. And their audience is getting a little older, but fair enough. But look at CNN. Recently, CNN did a fantastic report on the prisons in El Salvador and what's going on there.
Mm-hmm.
And you can find every once in a while, like even in the New York Times, especially when it's not political, like we're detailing this guy crossing the Antarctic on just a sled and he's traversing the Antarctic. Like when they do just deep dive reporting, they really do have talented, skilled people. If they just get out of their own way and use the resources and networks they have to just push out compelling information that isn't political, they'll probably be all right. But right now, it's
I don't think their
miserable
handlers
to
are going
watch.
to allow them to do that.
I'm sure that, Joey, we are going to find out that they were being paid by the federal government.
Yep.
That's who we were paying for their
Guaranteed.
paycheck. That's how they were doing it.
Guaranteed. Well, and there's no
Through
doubt.
all this shell companies and stuff.
There's no doubt about that, because once all that got frozen, that's when all these people started getting fired. That's when suddenly we can't make payroll. So,
What a coincidence.
Right.
Wow.
Right.
Amazing how all of a sudden the money in the government stops and they go, oh, crap, we can't pay these people millions of dollars a year or really anything. I'm telling you, man, it's so bad. This is the scuttlebutt. Who knows whether it's true or not, but after everything we've seen, I don't doubt it too much. I mean, what I had heard is the FBI owns MSNBC, and the CIA was basically the one that was pulling the strings at CNBC. Or it may have been the other way around. I'm not quite sure, but basically it was propaganda. They were propaganda machines for the government.
Yeah.
and they were being paid by people in the government somehow, some way.
Yes.
Anyway, there you go. But well, I'm glad things are we're getting some daylight is finally coming in, and boy, are the roaches running, and boy, am I having fun watching them.
Wait, so you're not at this point yet?
They're going to come and say to me, sir, we're winning too much, sir. We can't take it anymore. We have to stop winning, sir. We can't do it. We're not used to winning in our country. And each one of them is going to say, every single one, sir, please, please, you're destroying our country. We're winning too much. Our country isn't prepared for this.
Oh, no, I'm not to that point yet. I don't know how he can make that kind of claim for somebody like me. I can't get enough of this stuff.
There's got to be a lot more winning.
It's just like a Christmas morning, every day. We're getting better and better. So I can't wait to see what Cash Patel does. I mean, I know he's already doing stuff, but Cash and Dan Bongino, man, what a double-bladed weed eater that
And
pair can make.
500 FBI agents already reassigned to Redstone. They're in Huntsville,
Some of
Alabama.
them. Yep. Well, they said, somebody said that was the equivalent of assigning them to a Russian gulag.
Well, that person's ignorant.
Yeah.
Seriously, Huntsville is a major part of the central nervous system of our national security state. Huntsville is crazy.
Well, let me ask both you guys. Have you guys ever met a northerner that transferred down to the south that didn't love it? Because I have not.
That's my grandfather.
They always have this misperception.
Yeah.
They have this false perception about what it's like.
Yep.
Because they've been told and they've been shown all these movies that they've made over the years. Oh, a bunch of hasty, backwards inbred folks in there already out with their shotguns and their pickup trucks, It's just it's so terrible. Anyway. All right,
What do you mean? I don't have a pickup truck.
Well, I do too, and I do have a shotgun.
I got one for
and
you.
Occasionally I'll drive around in a T-shirt. I might even have a barbecue stain on it. I don't know.
I hope so. Is that gravy?
Well, I appreciate the call,
But
Papa.
it ain't every day. It ain't every day. All right.
See you, Papa
I'll
B.
talk to y'all later.
I noticed he didn't say, I'm not impressed. There's folks who still would go with the old H.L. Mencken line that the hookworm and incest belt of the country. There are people that still have that nasty point of view on things.
We would meet, because with Hyundai, we had to bring in so many people from around the United States. And that was the biggest thing. So many of them got here and they're like, okay, I've heard this, I've heard that, but I've yet to see it. Yeah, you're not going to see that.
My grandfather has memories the first time he was stationed here, where he left base and he had a black officer sitting in the front seat with him and got pulled over by a local cop saying you can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
And very quickly the base called up local PD, and this is in the late 50s.
Yeah.
And and my grandfather himself, once he ends up back here in the 80s, like he's all the change and he's seen the change big time. So it's
I haven't met that many people, and I'm sure it happens, but I haven't met that many people that said, you know what, I'm heading up north. I can't take no more of this.
And then sometimes y'all are a walking stereotype.
Well, we have those.
Yeah.
I was several of that this
Goodness
weekend on a tractor. And,
But, talk about things coming out every day. DOGE, at DOGE on X, put out, agencies often have more software licenses than employees.
I wouldn't doubt that.
And the licenses are often idle. That is paid for but not installed on any computer. For example, at GSA, with 13,000 employees, there are 37,000 WinZip licenses, 19,000 training software subscriptions, and multiple parallel training software platforms, 7,500 project manager software seats for a division with 5,500 employees, 3 different ticketing systems running in parallel. That's just one example of one agency.
That's government efficiency right there, Troy.
Oh,
that's the good stuff.
We keep finding more and more stuff.
Well, we're going to keep finding. Wait till we get the DOD.
But again, the more they're attacked, the more popular they're getting.
Of course.
I kind of like it. Let's go to line 3. You're on there. Who's this?
Hey, this is Tooth Fair. And I would like to interject a little bit into that. But before I do that, my little red pickup truck ain't working since this winter because the battery run down. I got to have the charge done on it.
Mm-hmm.
And I need new tires on it. So, therefore, if you want to look at Southerners, you can look in my front yard and see my little red pickup truck. No, it ain't for sale.
Big say that thing for sale.
You get too close,
You
my
selling
dog's
that?
going to bite you.
It ain't for sale. But to go back to the federal employees, these people have known since November 7th that this day was coming. This should not be a surprise to any of them. Not a single one of them. They have known since November the 7th that this is exactly what Donald Trump was going to do. Why are they surprised? And for those of you who are complaining that they're doing this and that they're firing all these people, and you shouldn't do that, and you don't have the authority to do that, you people must not lock your doors at night. Because you don't have a problem at all with somebody walking into your house and stealing from you. People who do not understand the level of theft that has gone on for decades now need to open their eyes. I'd say wake up, but they've already purloined that statement of being woke. If it bothers you that there are that many inactive people in the government, then you need to be listening to what Elon Musk is trying to do. This is taking care of your tax money. And if, like I said, you don't have a problem with somebody stealing, quit locking your doors at night. That's simple. And Abigail's watching a leopard on television. Don't ask me why she's barking at it. But that's the issue that people are not stopping to look at. They're looking at their overall disdain of what they have been told to do, just like they were told about the South. They were told to hate Donald Trump, and they're doing it. They didn't stop to look at who the man was. Once upon a time, there was a gentleman that says, I have a dream that my children will be judged by the context of their character. Obviously, those people did not listen to what that statement was. It didn't mean to just the color of your skin. It meant to what all else you did. You are judged by your character. You are judged by what you do. And if it means that somebody has to go in and clean up a mess that was created decades ago, I applaud that person for stepping in and doing it. Period. And if you don't like the fact that I swallow, I don't care. Your choice. You don't have to like it. I don't have to like the fact that you are agreeing with somebody coming in and stealing with all of it. Every person in the United States today has been stolen from. And if you do not recognize that, as I said, stop locking your door. Because the thieves are coming. And in this case, the thieves are sitting in Washington. They're sitting in Montgomery. They're sitting in Alabama. They're sitting all over the country. Because the person who does not go back to work when they are told, you give me 5 reasons or 5 things that you have done this week so that we can evaluate what needs to be done, and you're contesting that, you have a problem. And you need to be fired. And I'd fire you in a heartbeat. I wouldn't even blink about it. These people are lucky that they're being given a certain amount of time to get their act together and get back to work. Because if it had been me, if I had walked in there and my employees were not sitting at their desk, knowing full well since November the 7th that I would be walking in, oh, honey, your butt would be fired right then. I wouldn't give you 2 weeks or a month or 2 months to get over it. Your butt would be fired right then.
Well, I appreciate the call as always.
Thank you much. Appreciate it, guys. Y'all keep up the good work. Keep
You too.
Kidding.
Let me know if you're going to sell that truck.
I ain't selling my truck.
Okay.
You want me to tell you how many times I have had people knock on my door and ask me, don't I want to sell that little red pickup truck?
Only in the South does that happen, but it happens. Don't park a car in your front yard unless you want to sell it, because people come knocking on your door.
And I use it. I will be driving around using it, and people will stop me and ask, ma'am, are you interested in selling that little red truck?
Yep.
No, I'm not.
Never
It
fails.
may have its issues, but it's not for sale. No way.
I appreciate it. I got a break. I appreciate
Thanks,
it.
guys.
Hey, gun.
This is part of the program brought to you by Smokehouse Pit Barbecue. And they're at Smokehouse. Man, they've got some good eating.
Yeah, they
over
do,
there.
Joey.
You're talking about high-end barbecue, the best barbecue here in the
Best
River
around here,
region.
man.
And they're back to the original recipe, so
Right.
it's going to taste like you remembered, with 5 brick pits always running hand-pulled meats, whether you're looking for the canned stew or ribs or pulled pork, or like a good pulled pork sandwich, some of their spicy
they got some
barbecue
great
sauce
sandwiches,
right on the table there. And, of course, don't forget, Tuesday through Sunday.
Right.
They have breakfast.
Yeah, breakfast.
And you get to go on your way to work, or maybe you want to sit down and have a quick, delicious Southern breakfast. The cheese grits. By the way, I went to this brunch breakfast place.
Yeah.
It was nice. It was really, really good. But the cheese grits were nothing
See,
compared
you
to
see what I
Smokehouse
mean?
Pit Barbecue.
Yep.
They were all talking up, oh, no, you got to try these. I'm like, it's not going to be as good as Smokehouse.
Yep.
And I tried, and I go, I'm
And you're right.
They're doing something special there at Smokehouse, especially when it comes to breakfast. So, again, breakfast, lunch, dinner, whether you're dining in or taking it out, they're ready to help you out. Same location they've always been. They're at Main Street in Millbrook. And be sure to tell the great team there that Joey and Eddie, those guys on the radio, sent you. We'll be right back.
Want to carry News Talk in your pocket? Download the News Talk 93.1 app from the App Store. Available on iPhone and Android. Never miss a moment. Download now.
1819 News.
There is a recall that has been issued by the Food and Drug Administration for frozen shakes that are being used in nursing homes across Alabama as well as 20 other states. The Cisco brand frozen supplemental shakes have caused 11 deaths due to listeria contamination and 37 hospitalizations. These types of shakes are usually given to hospital patients and long-term care patients. Listeria can survive refrigerated or frozen temperatures and causes fever, muscle aches, nausea, vomiting, and diarrhea. I'll be back with more Alabama stories after this.
Some of the greatest blessings is just having people that care about you, to have someone that's just going to love you and make you feel important. They encourage you to be in church. They encourage you to be in prayer. They encourage you to be in your Bible. Now it's a part of my day every day. My house parents planted seeds in me that you can see where those seeds have sprouted in my life and helped change my life.
Big Oak Ranch, a Christian home for children needing a chance.
A shooting at a food court at the Western Hills Mall in Fairfield has left one person dead. 32-year-old Darren Hall is identified as the one fatality. Another 21-year-old bystander has also been injured and hospitalized. Investigators say the gunfire erupted between two groups of people at that mall. The football coach for Clark County High School, Rob Carter, was released from a Florida jail this past weekend and then sent to the Clark County Jail in Alabama. Carter is being charged there for engaging in a sex act with a student. Carter has been placed on administrative leave. He started coaching at that school 2 years ago. Residents in Ayrton, Alabama are mourning the sudden loss of their high school baseball coach. Taylor Polk was only 31 years old and had a sudden cardiac arrest during baseball practice last week. Polk was a football player from Troy University, where he also earned his education degree. Polk leaves behind a wife and children. I'm Andrea Tice.
For more news affecting Alabamians, go to 1819news.com. And while you're there, subscribe to the daily newsletter.
Adams Drugs has been committed to the health care of the people of the River region for over 62 years. We value the trust each customer has in our pharmacists, techs, and entire staff. If you have not experienced the difference of Adams Drugs and are not satisfied with the customer service that you get in the big box stores, we invite you to visit any of our locations and see how committed we are to your satisfaction. Adams Drugs offers a variety of services that you will not find in all pharmacies in the River region. Personalized compounding, area-wide delivery, wellness screenings, immunizations, medication consultations, and specialized packaging, just to name a few. Visit us at our website, adamsdrugs.net, and find the location nearest you. Adams Drugs has 12 convenient locations to serve you. Your satisfaction is our #1 goal. Adams Drugs is your local Health Mart pharmacy. Health Mart, taking the time to listen and care.
This is your roving reporter, and today I am talking with an elk. Hey man, Mr. Elk, I was just wondering, what do elk do to take care of their money? Well, like most smart folks, we call David Ernest. You mean Alabama's most favorite asset preservationist? That's him, man. We call him up at 334-279-7431 or 205-479-0839. I see. Yes, he is our preferred money man. The money man with the money plan. You've been paying attention. Well, could you give us those numbers one more time? 334-279-7431 or 205-479-0839. And I just want to try to give you a heads up, man. Oh, what's that? I'm not an elk. Not an elk, huh? Well, then, pray tell, what are you? Knights of Columbus. I am not even going to make a comment. Well, the baby liked it.
For too long, Alabama's statewide news companies have shamed us for our conservative Christian values. Alabama deserves a news company that cherishes our culture, a company that isn't bought and paid for by the powers that be. 1819 News is that company. Run by Alabamians for Alabamians, 1819 News celebrates what is good and beautiful about our state, while exposing those who work against our values in secret. Just go to 1819news.com to learn more. Subscribe to our newsletter. That's 1819news.com. This hour of News and Views is brought to you by our good friends at Cole Plumbing, 279-8919. Cole Plumbing is number one in the number two business. You don't have to dig a hole. They have proprietary pipelining technology. Ask them about their tankless water heaters. Remember, when you have trouble with your bowl, call on Cole.
Rich Thomas Weather, a service of Wiley Sanders Truck Lines, where over-the-road dump truck drivers are needed right now. Home twice a week and every weekend, must leave early on Sunday with Blue Cross Blue Shield. Call them now at 855-777-9785.
Well, hi, everybody. The weather news I have for you this week is a lot better than last week. Tonight, partly cloudy. Not too bad for late February. Overnight low temperature down to about 42. Tomorrow, Tuesday, beautiful day. The warming trend continues with a high temperature up to about 72. I think we'll do better than that on Wednesday with a high temperature of 76 and more sunshine. Next chance of showers holding off till about Thursday, but then nice weather returning on Friday and Saturday. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
Budget Floors and More is your low-price leader for everything you need for flooring and DIY flooring installation supplies. For the best prices on luxury vinyl plank, carpet, ceramic tile, flooring installation supplies, and more, shop Budget Floors and More, Hunter Lane across from Del Rey to Publix.
Live local talk, the River Region's only 24-hour News Talk FM station. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back. You know, one thing we were forgetting about, Eddie, is there's a big rally tomorrow in front of the State House. I think all the veterans are getting together, making their voices heard as they the legislature tries to do this whole restructuring overhaul of the Veterans Board of Affairs.
Yeah, that rally's tomorrow, right? 11:30?
Starts at 11:30. Admiral Kent Davis will be speaking down there.
All right, check your message from Troy real quick.
272-9228.
Wow. I hope a lot of VA veterans come out. I know I've got a couple that are coming specifically for this and to kind of express their feelings.
Well, I'm going to say this on air. Getting a message from the governor's office, a direct message that if we come for this event, then they will arrest us. They have 7 state police units ready to apprehend us. What?
Exactly. What? Why? It's a public event, correct? Public property? Well,
That's crazy. It's absolutely crazy.
Yep.
Just now seeing that.
That blows me away. So it makes me want to go produce 10,000 masks and everyone wear that same mask.
Let's go to Charles the First. Hey, Charles.
Hey, hey, Joey. Hey, Eddie.
Hey, Charles.
Can y'all hear me good?
Yes, sir.
Well, that's remember the movie I was telling you about? We didn't have a permit to go in front of the Department of Correction, but they didn't do anything to us, and they didn't do anything like what you're saying there. If they had started to or said anything to us, we would have just left. But they, I guess maybe they didn't want the publicity from doing that. I was on a program yesterday live that after I got off, they got like 4,000 views, over 4,000 views on their YouTube. I was kind of talking about some of that.
Mm-hmm.
And what I wanted to talk about was when you had Joe on there earlier, you talked about, you talked about what might be coming from, just other viewpoints as far as politically in response to what's happening now. And I'm particularly talking about Alabama, okay?
Sure.
And I'm talking about what I call a movement called It's I, influence through shared interest. And that would be like the veterans in this circumstance. And also the persons, when they see the film of what happened and what happened with the mentally challenged, actually coming together because of what's occurring that shouldn't be occurring, and that being kind of a movement. Along the lines, have you ever heard of a historical figure called Henry George?
Yeah.
That's the kind of thing I'm talking about, like the average, ordinary person, everything going to such an extent that it creates a Henry George. You get what I'm saying, since you know who it is.
Well, I know a little bit about him, but yeah, no, I see it creates sort of a populist momentum where certain groups have been spit on and worse, that they sort of come together looking out for the little guy.
Yeah, because, you know, what amazed me, it was kind of hard when I went on radio and television and different things to tell about what was happening with the mentally challenged that were harmed and went in, you know, isolation through no fault of their own. I would get rebuttal like, well, people need to be working, and these persons couldn't work. When I finally got down to the terrible nitty-gritty of no way out, that was the only way that any empathy came through. And it makes me think, guys, we can't go so far that we have no empathy. Do you follow me?
Yeah.
Or that our lack of empathy is shown and mirrored to us where it hits us that we can't say it doesn't exist. And I don't know. That's what I was going to say, because I'm Republican, I'm conservative, but there's a point where things can get so like they are with the way the governor's treating the veterans and the way that the mentally challenged are in the hospital becomes things you cannot overlook.
Right.
Anyway, I appreciate y'all letting me get on my soapbox there, and hope it makes some kind of difference. And I hope everything goes all right, and that the veterans, if they can't meet tomorrow, keep that in mind, and particularly the representatives and senators that initiated this against them during election time, don't forget their names.
Amen.
Thanks a lot, y'all.
Thank you,
Have
Charles.
a great day.
The rally was supposed to be planned. I think it's still ongoing, 11:30 tomorrow morning. Some of the speakers would be Major General Mike Summerall, Admiral Kent Davis, Pete Ream, Shannon McDaniel. Troy Carrico's on this program often. Of course, a veteran himself and organizer of the rally, said he's expecting several hundred attendees. And now we're getting word that the governor's office has made this threat of arrest. The heck is that?
Yeah.
What sort of gangster government are you running down in there?
Didn't she say she was a super supreme leader?
Wow.
That is so sad and pathetic.
If you're a veteran, you're hearing this, you are already going. I think you need even more reason to go now.
Yep.
That's absurd. I don't know what much to say other than what will get me in trouble. What the heck is that? Veterans don't like what you're doing. They want to show their support in a public demonstration, and you threaten arrest?
These are veterans too, Joey. These are people that have laid down their life and their existence just so we can be free, and this is how our leaders treat them. Not surprising, to be honest, from the one we got up there. Don't forget about COVID with that old bat.
We'll see what happens tomorrow.
Oh, it just disgusts me.
It's part of the program brought to you by Montgomery Men's Health. Maybe that's what we need back in the governor's office, a little more testosterone.
Amen.
Sort of this passive-aggressive and then really aggressive approach. Montgomery Men's Health can help you fellas out. Sorry, folks. That news is despicable. They're Montgomery Men's Health. They can help you fellas out if you're feeling run down and tired of the live-long day. No motivation, energy, or drive, including no sex drive to speak of. Always seeing unwanted weight gain, loss of muscle mass. Well, a lot of these issues, especially if it's all happening at once, could point to low testosterone.
That's right, Joey.
And knowing whether you have low T is huge in combating these issues, and the providers here at Montgomery Men's Health will conduct a testosterone-focused lab workup plus a consultation for only $99. It's really just a quick blood draw, and they ask you a few basic quality of life questions on how you're doing, how you're feeling. And if that score comes back and you do, in fact, have low T, they have treatments there that can truly change men's lives at Montgomery Men's Health. Men after treatment can experience higher energy, better gains in the gym, better mental clarity, improved sleep patterns, a faster metabolism, and you usually even notice an increased libido. A lot right with that.
Mm-hmm.
So, guys, it's time to feel amazing and hit your goals this year. That number, 440-3663. That's 440-3663. Or go to MontgomeryMen'sHealth.com to book your appointment today. Yeah, I was just getting that from organizers that there's a direct threat of arrest.
Yep.
So they call their bluff.
Certainly.
That's absurd. Also, we're talking all this DOGE stuff and the waste. Well, Senator Katie Britt has weighed in. This is Erica Thomas reporting at 1819 News. Katie Britt says the story of an Alabama man suing the government after a delay in retirement benefits, quote unquote, ruined his life is an example of why the Department of Government Efficiency efforts are important. Angelo Fermo of Daphne told 1819 News his retirement after 20 years as a Homeland Security Special Agent was riddled with errors, forcing him into debt. This is yet another example of how our out-of-control administrative state is harming Alabamians and wasting taxpayer dollars, Britt responded. Unelected bureaucrats should be held responsible, thankfully. President Trump is committed to this mission. A Democrat judge issued a temporary restraining order in DOGE's efforts to clean up the Office of Personnel Management, which processed retirement applications by hand in an underground mine. Yeah, Iron Mountain.
Yeah.
Britt said she will continue to support the Trump administration's efforts to get rid of the waste. Again, this isn't like just about picking on federal workers as a class. There are a lot of federal workers getting the short end of the stick.
Oh, yeah, there's no doubt about that. No doubt about that.
There are a lot of federal workers that don't want to retire, but want to see the job they're doing made better. Like, why are we doing all this wasteful stuff?
Oh, I'm sure.
Why is this the way things have been done for a decade?
Right. I'm sure there's a lot of them that think, hey, I know there's a better way to do this, but they've been told just keep their head down, mouth shut.
And we're getting more word that veterans shall be there.
Good.
And we're going to get live call-ins because it starts at 11:30. Folks will be calling in. Absolutely crazy. Threatening veterans trying to exercise their First Amendment rights because you're up to something they don't like.
Trying to whip them in line.
272-9228. Give them a running behind here. This part of the program brought to you by River Region Contracting. And they're at River Region Contracting. Todd Clark and his team, they're ready to help you with any need when it comes to your roof. And in fact, that need might just be, I want to check on it.
I had somebody call me this weekend, said, hey, Eddie, do you have a roof guy that you can recommend to come over here and give me an estimate? He said, I've had one person come over, but I just don't trust him. So, of course, I gave him Clark's number. I mean, come on.
Todd Clark, they're at River Region Contracting. Yeah. And the beautiful part is their inspections are always free.
Yep.
And their estimates are free. Say they do find a problem, they're going to write up that estimate for free.
And that's what this particular person knows. He said, I know I'm due for a roof, but I'm just so afraid I'm going to get ripped off.
Overpriced. Quoted.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's not the case with River Region Contracting. And they're not associated with any other roofing company here in the area. It's River Region Contracting with Todd Clark. And it's not only free inspections and free estimates, they're insurance specialists, so they can also walk you through that claims process, make it swift and easy. So y'all call them today. That number for River Region Contracting, 356-8635. That's 356-8635. If you're looking for a roofer you can trust that gets the job done well, 356-8635. And be sure to tell Todd and the team there at River Region Contracting that Joey and Eddie, those guys on the radio, sent you.
He may not know whether he's coming or going, but whether you're going to work or coming home, Greg Budell is there. Mornings 6 till 9 and afternoons 3 till 6. Only on News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Hello, everyone. Robbie Pelt with Capital City Roofing. If you think about it, your home is your biggest investment in life. Your roof covers your home, so why jeopardize your biggest investment on a roofer you don't know anything about when you can deal with a reputable roofing company like Capital City Roofing? We have an A+ Better Business rating and the best manufacturers and workmanship warranties available. We do all residential and commercial roofing applications that are certified through the manufacturer to ensure you get the best material and workmanship money can buy. We also have your project in our best interest before and after construction has been done. Don't hesitate to call us if you have any roofing issues or questions. We will match any of our competitors' price and give you the same great workmanship warranty. We also give free estimates. Give us a call today and let us show you the difference. 277-3311. That's 277-3311. Or you can check us out on the web at www.capitalcityroofing.com. Capital City Roofing. We capitalize the roofing industry.
Hello, I'm Mr. Ben. If your vehicle has seen better days, fear not, help is on the way. Mr. Ben's Auto Spa Express has added a professional detail shop. Specialized techniques and products are used to get your vehicle back to showroom shape. Hand washing, waxing, stain removal, odor removal, shampooing, minor scratch removal, and more. Mr. Ben's Auto Spa Express, next to Fraser Church on the Atlanta Highway. Come by for a free estimate. Look like you've been to Mr. Ben.
This hour of News and Views is brought to you by our good friends at Cole Plumbing, 279-8919. Cole Plumbing is number one in the number two business. You don't have to dig a hole. They have proprietary pipelining technology. Ask them about their tankless water heaters. Remember, when you have trouble with your bowl, call on Cole.
On FM, on your smartphone, and online, the River Region's most trusted voice, News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Welcome back. Let's go to the phones. Talk to Ray Bowles from Prattville Carpet. Hey, Ray, how you doing?
Okay, now y'all got to show up at the governor's place tomorrow. The only thing I'm going to ask is let me give you some Prattville Carpet shirts, put them on, and say this is sponsored by Prattville Carpet.
Good idea, Ray.
No, they're going to be there.
Yeah, people are still showing up.
Yeah, I mean, that's crazy to say you can't do that.
Agreed.
I was listening to you when you said what. I said what at the same time.
Right.
That's political suicide.
Yep.
Wow. Of course, I reckon when you're 95 years old, you don't have to run for office again. You can do what you want to.
Yeah, I think this one's going to get back in her face pretty good, which I hope so.
Yeah, I'm shocked. I don't even know how to do an ad after hearing that. I'm like, that is absolutely the craziest thing I've ever heard of, saying you can't protest. I mean, that's part of what our country's made on.
Thank you.
You know, I didn't agree with all the protesters protested Trump this week at D.C., but, you know, they had every right to do it.
That's right.
And if they want to spend their money and go up there and protest, have fun. Enjoy it. The rest of us going to be down here selling carpet and worried about the house, you know?
Yep.
And speaking of floors, call us at 285-8117. Nobody's going to be protesting you after you get floors from Prattville Carpet.
Oh, that's for certain. Not even the governor should go. 285-8117, and when you call them up at 285-8117, be sure to tell them you heard Ray Bowles on the radio with Joey and Eddie.
And listen, seriously, I'll bring you a Prattville Carpet shirt if you plan on going tomorrow.
No, we're going to be here taking calls live from the event.
But I'll wear the heck out of a
Yeah, I
got
to be in Auburn. Dad's got to go see the accountant. So I'm going to drive him to Auburn.
Oh, boy.
To get his taxes. Yeah, oh, boy.
Oh, boy.
Guys, y'all have a great day.
See you, Ray.
Appreciate it, Ray. We're going to have a packed day tomorrow.
Yeah,
too.
we are.
So I think also Andrew Szymanski's stopping by, but I think he'll understand
everything going on. Yeah,
if we need to take some calls about the event. Again, that's supposed to be starting at 11:30.
Mm-hmm.
And I got this information from the people that organized the event.
Right.
Threat of arrest if they show up.
That's just crazy.
Absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. So what did we learn today?
Oof.
That maybe the governor's drunk again.
Yeah.
Actually,
you really think she knows?
Yeah,
I mean, I just go back to these Joe Biden
I'm
moments.
tired of giving the sort of out if she doesn't. I think she's quite aware.
She's responsible no matter what. I didn't know.
Let's go to Sandra on line 5. Hey, Sandra, how you doing?
Hey, Joey. I was doing okay until I heard what you said. I'm a daughter of a Pearl Harbor veteran, and my dad was 98, and he passed away in 2022, and he was sharp in the mind, and he didn't like our governor because of the things that she did to get in office by raising the gas tax. And here she is trying to do that again, and now she's threatening veterans over their rights.
Yeah.
Does she think she's got big balls?
Well,
we'll find out.
We're about to check. Sure.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you what. She needs to go. She needs
Agreed.
to go.
Agreed.
Y'all guys, I'm going to listen tomorrow. I really wanted to go. I'm unable to. I was going to be there to support them. But, geez, this is just a mess.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. Well, keep up the good work, guys.
Thank you, Sandra.
Appreciate it, Sandra.
All right.
What a mess, man.
Unbelievable.
Well, it should be an eventful day tomorrow.
Yeah. Got a lot going on.
Indeed, we do. Well, y'all stay tuned. Happy Hour with Greg Beadell. He's going to be next. We'll have to inform him, by the way.
Certainly.
Y'all stay tuned. We'll be back at noon tomorrow.
Broadcasting from the Riverside Chevrolet Master Control Center, this is WACV Cusana, News Talk 93.1 FM. When it's Chevy, it's Riverside.
With SRN News, I'm John Scott. A dozen leaders from Europe and Canada are in Ukraine's capital to mark the third anniversary of Russia's invasion. The visitors all calling for solidarity with Ukraine. Meanwhile, President Trump says he's hopeful Russia's war in Ukraine is nearing an endgame as he meets with French President Emmanuel Macron today at the White House. The Vatican reporting Pope Francis remains in critical condition, but has shown some slight improvement in laboratory tests. Starbucks plans to lay off 1,100 corporate employees globally as new chairman and CEO Brian Nichols streamlines the operations. Baristas in the company's stores, they are not included in the layoffs. The Dow up 191 points, the Nasdaq down 101. This is SRN News.